Part 78. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 771. Zhang Chen drove for more than 3 hours on the more than 100-kilometer road from Hangzhou to Shanghai. After entering the city, he drove for another 2 hours, but still could not find Xiaoli and the others. Lao Wan told Zhang Chen on the phone how to go. Zhang Chen felt a map appeared in his mind and quickly said he knew it. As soon as he started the car, he still felt dizzy. He hit Lao Wan again, and Lao Wan started talking to him again. He asked how to go. Zhang Chen said okay, now I know, thank you Lao Wan. Lao Wan stayed by the phone in the office of Sanbao factory for several hours. He told Zhao Zhigang and He Hongmei that if I had known this, I would have sent him there, and now they are back. The two of them laughed. The phone bill has even caught up with the gas bill, Zhao Zhigang said, and He Hongmei laughed again. Zhang Chen was anxious when his big brother rang loudly. It was Xiaoli. Xiaoli said to him, please find a place to pull over first. I will call you in 10 minutes, Mr. Zhang. Zhang Chen said okay. Zhang Chen drove to the door of a building in front, parked the car, got out of the car, and stood on the side of the road. Only then did he feel the pain in his back. The phone in his hand rang, and he quickly picked it up. It was Xiaoli again. Xiaoli asked, Mr. Zhang, have you parked the car? Parked. Look at the side and see if there are any obvious signs. I'll come and pick you up. It seemed that this was the only way to go. Zhang Chen looked at the building next to him and said to Xiaoli. Before he finished speaking, Xiaoli shouted, okay, Mr. Zhang, I understand. You are right there. I will come right away. Zhang Chen stood behind the car and looked in the direction of the car on the road to see which taxi would stop in front of him. Xiaoli was sitting in the car. Dingling bells, a string of bicycle bells rang. Zhang Chen turned his head and looked in the other direction of the road. He was startled when he saw Xiaoli riding on a bicycle, heading towards him in the opposite direction. Xiaoli stopped the car and looked at Zhang Chen, who couldn't help laughing. Zhang Chen cursed, you are still laughing, I have been driving around here for more than an hour. Xiaoli continued to smile, walked around, got in the car, and would be there soon. Zhang Chen got on the car, started it, and followed Xiaoli Road forward for 4 or 5 minutes and jumped out of the car. Zhang Chen looked and saw that, sure enough, inside the gate on the roadside was the warehouse they rented. Zhang Chen drove the car into the gate and parked it. He scratched his head and told Xiaoli that I seem to have passed by this gate. Xiaoli scolded, it's not like that, I saw you driving over, I chased you and called you, but you didn't stop and drove away again. Zhang Chen chuckled, and I looked ahead. I didn't have time to look at the rearview mirror. Zhang Chen asked Xiaoli if she had found the store. Xiaoli said that there was a house on Sichuan Middle Road, which Xiaomi and I thought was good. Xiaomi is a native of Shanghai, an employee in their Shanghai warehouse, and Xiaoli's assistant. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, don't go to Sichuan Middle Road. I think Huihai Middle Road is better. Xiaoli and Xiaomi were both surprised. Xiaomi shouted, Mr. Zhang, the house on Huihai Middle Road is very expensive. Zhang Chen said that being expensive means that the place has high commercial value and a large flow of people. We are doing business and we need to go to places with the largest flow of people. As long as the business is done, no matter how expensive the rent is, it will be cost effective. Otherwise, if you open in a street in the alley, it's no use renting anything. You can't even make back a salesperson's salary in a month. Xiaoli and Xiaomi, it seems to make sense. Zhang Chen asked them if they knew about the Esprit store on Huihai Road. Both of them said they knew. Zhang Chen and Xiaoli said let's go and see if there are any houses nearby. Xiaomi, look at the warehouse. Xiaomi said yes, but Xiaoli pulled her up and told Zhang Chen, no, 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 if Xiaomi wants to go together, just close the warehouse door. Why? Zhang Chen was confused. Shanghai people, Mr. Zhang, you don't know. He can understand everything you say to him. In fact, he can also speak Mandarin. But when they speak, they all speak Shanghainese. They refuse to speak Mandarin. Can you understand Shanghai words? Xiaoli asked. A little bit, Zhang Chen said. Little by little, people have ignored you for a long time. You are a native, a rural person, Xiaoli said, while Xiaomi laughed wildly beside her. Zhang Chen said yes, then Xiaomi will go with us. The three people locked the warehouse door, and Zhang Chen was about to walk out. Xiaoli shouted, Mr. Zhang, what are you going to do? You don't want to drive, why do you want to walk? Zhang Chen cringed a little and said, let's take a taxi. No, no, the boss is here in Shanghai, why don't you drive us to have fun? Xiaoli shouted. Zhang Chen laughed, if you are not afraid of pulling the wind out, you will not be able to come back. How stupid. We are in the car. We are giving you directions in the car. After driving for 2 days, aren't you familiar with all the roads in Shanghai? Zhang Chen thought it made sense, so he let the two of them get in the car, and Xiaomi sat in the passenger seat. With Xiaomi guiding the way, it turned out to be a smooth journey. They drove for half an hour and arrived at Huihei Middle Road. Xiaomi was very familiar with this area. She pointed Zhang Chen where to park the car. I saw the Esprit store on the roadside, drove over and parked the car, and the three of them got out of the car and walked back. It was evening now, the time when business was probably the quietest. They walked to Esprit's store, where there were still many people. Zhang Chen stood at the entrance of the Esprit store and looked to the left and right. There was no suitable store on either side. Looking across the way, Zhang Chen saw a store of more than 300 square meters diagonally opposite, with 2 floors on the first floor and the bottom. On the door was written the signboard is Shanghai Chaoyang Underwear Factory Sales Department. Zhang Chen said let's go there and have a look. The three people walked into the store. It was deserted inside, with a glass counter all around. 4 or 5 salesmen stood chatting inside. The walls inside the counter were dotted with pieces of underwear and bras hanging on them. Chen seemed to have immediately spotted a Kuning clothing factory again. He saw that most of the underwear and bras inside were of old styles, many of which were probably from more than 10 years ago. This part of underwear has probably never been taken off since it was put on the wall as a sample. It was covered with a fine layer of dust. Fortunately, the light in the store was dim, making it less conspicuous. There is a staircase leading to the second floor, but the staircase entrance is nailed shut by 2 horizontal wooden bars. It seems that not to mention the guests, they themselves are not prepared to go up. Zhang Chen exited the store, stood at the door and looked at the Esprit store diagonally opposite. They were both selling clothing, but they were completely different. But he thought this place was good. Xiaoli and Xiaomi said, go and ask if they rent it out here. Xiaomi returned to the store. After a while, he came out with a piece of paper in his hand and told them that they didn't know whether to rent it or not. He asked us to ask the factory, but the factory was now closed. Xiaomi shook the paper in his hand and told them that I asked for the address of the factory. Zhang Chen said okay, then we will go there tomorrow morning. Mr. Zhang, have we completed our task today? Xiaoli asked. Zhang Chen said it right and it was successfully completed. Is that going to reward us? Zhang Chen knew what Xiaoli wanted to say, so he said yes, you guys didn't even have a break during the spring festival. You have worked so hard. You can eat whatever you want. Just say it boldly. You can eat whatever you want. Is the Peace Hotel available? Xiaoli asked. Okay, Zhang Chen said. The two girls screamed, startling passers-by. The next day, they met again in the warehouse. Xiaoli and Xiaomi handed over the goods to be delivered today to the delivery workers. They delivered the goods in Shanghai on a human-powered tricycle. The tricycle is very cheap, only costing more than 200, but the red and white license plate on the car is very valuable. It was only obtained through connections. With this license plate, tricycles can travel unimpeded in the streets and alleys of Shanghai. Several people piled the goods into the car, tied them up, watched the tricycle go out, then locked the warehouse door and drove away. Xiaomi directed Zhang Chen to Sinan Road. Sinan Road was the French concession before liberation. On both sides of the road were French plane trees and garden houses. When they were about to reach Rujin Hospital, Xiaomi asked Zhang Chen to turn left into Jiande Road. Drive straight ahead, and when you approach the intersection of Rujin Second Road, turn right into an alley. As soon as Zhang Chen turned around, Xiaomi shouted again, get out quickly." Zhang Chen looked at her puzzled and Xiaomi said, "I'm afraid we can't park inside." Zhang Chen looked at the reversing mirror and felt that from yesterday to today, in Shanghai, although he was dizzy and drove for several hours, he felt that his driving skills had improved a lot, so he backed up confidently and backed the car back to the building. "On the road, pull over and park." The three people got off the car and walked towards the alley for about 20 meters. Inside was a vegetable market. At the entrance of the vegetable market, there was only a small open space. The open space was full of bicycles and tricycles. Fortunately, they did not drive in, otherwise it's dead. However, Zhang Chen was wondering, could there be a factory in this damn place? Xiaomi walked to the door of the market and asked a man sitting there with a red sleeve band on his arm. The man held a cigarette in one hand and pointed behind him. They saw that there was a horizontal alley going deep towards the direction to Rujin Hospital. They walked along the alley to the end. They found a door covered with iron and covered with doornails. It was open. Inside was an abandoned old church. They didn't know whether it was Catholic or Christian. There was a white and black plaque hanging on the side of the door. The sign with Chinese characters reads, "Local state-owned Shanghai Chaoyang Underwear Factory." It seems that we have come to the right place. They walked into the church hall, and Zhang Chen saw the scene of Kuning garment factory again. There were 60 or 70 old-fashioned household sewing machines inside. The business seemed to be better than that of Kuning garment factory. There were people sitting behind each sewing machine. There were baskets of semi-finished products piled high on the floor. As soon as they walked in, someone called out to come over. Xiaomi quickly told him that we are here to see your factory director. Back to back, back to back. The man pointed outward and to the side. They walked in from the open space next to the church. At the end was a newly built tile-roofed house in the back, but it was about 10 or 20 years old. The room was not big, about 40 square meters, and there were more than a dozen tables inside. It was very crowded. All the administrative, sales, logistics and financial personnel of Chaoyang Underwear Factory are concentrated in this office. Xiaomi walked in and asked a person near the door if the factory director was there. The man called out, "Lao Cao." Behind an old-fashioned desk at the end of the office, a man about 50 years old with a smooth face raised his head. "That's it," the man said to Xiaomi. The three people walked over, and the man looked at them and asked, "What are you doing?" Xiaomi told him in Shanghainese, "We would like to ask, do you want to rent the store on Huihei Middle Road?" The man stared at Xiaomi, then looked at Zhang Chen and Xiaoli, then stared at Xiaomi again, and asked, "Is your brain crazy?" "Non." Xiaomi was so angry that Zhang Chen quickly pulled her. The man picked up a pair of reading glasses on the table, put them on, took a copy of Xinmin Evening News and looked at them, and ignored them. What else did Xiaomi want to say? Zhang Chen whispered to the two of them, "Let's go." Xiaoli and Xiaomi looked at him, Zhang Chen smiled and nodded. The three people walked out of the office. Xiaomi angrily scolded Akwexi, 13 o'clock. Xiaoli asked Zhang Chen, just forget it? Don't want to rent anymore? Zhang Chen smiled and said, of course you have to rent it, but this guy doesn't work for us. Let's go and find someone to talk to him. Thanks for the tip, Ba Liang. Thank you for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 772. Xiaoli and Xiaomi looked at Zhang Chen in confusion. Xiaoli asked, Mr. Zhang, do you know any other big people in Shanghai? Zhang Chen said, of course. Have you seen the whiteboard hanging behind Director CAO? Xiaoli and Xiaomi shook their heads together. They didn't even see the whiteboard, let alone the content on the whiteboard. Zhang Chen told them that the whiteboard behind Director CAO said, 100, delivery on March 5th. Xiaoli and Xiaomi both laughed, and Xiaoli shouted, Mr. Zhang, you mean, you want to go find Manager Chen? In this case, the products of Chaoyang Underwear Factory are also sold in the first department store. As long as it is in the first department store, how can you not sell the face of Manager Chen of the women's clothing department? The three people immediately went out, got in the car and went to the first department store, where they found Manager Chen. Manager Chen was very happy to see Zhang Chen and quickly invited them to sit down. Zhang Chen told Manager Chen his purpose. Manager Chen asked if it was which factory. Zhang Chen told her about Chaoyang Underwear Factory. Where is Lao Cao? Have you looked for him? I'm exhausted, Zhang Chen said. Manager Chen laughed and said, Lao Cao is a bit tough, so Mr. Zhang, I have made an appointment to beat you up. Zhang Chen quickly said thank you, Manager Chen. The three people left the first department store and returned to their warehouse. As soon as they parked the car, Zhang Chen's phone number rang. It was Manager Chen. She said that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Lao Cao's store was on Huihei Middle Road. The cafe opposite the department. Is it the one next to Esprit? Zhang Chen asked. Yes, that's right, we'll meet there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Manager Chen said. Zhang Chen quickly said okay, thank you, Manager Chen, and we'll see you in the afternoon. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhang Chen and the three of them went to take a seat early. There was no private room in this cafe, so they could only sit in the lobby. Zhang Chen was at a table and Xiaoli and Xiaomi were at a table next to them. The two of them put on their coats. Bags and other items were placed on the two chairs opposite Zhang Chen, making it look like someone was there. He also ordered 2 cups of coffee and placed them in front of the 2 empty seats. There are a lot of people here, otherwise it would be difficult to get a seat. After the two of them finished drinking their coffee, Zhang Chen told them that there were 2 more cups here, so they took them to drink. The two of them laughed, put the empty cups over, took away the 2 cups of coffee, and were drinking. Unexpectedly, the waiter came over and immediately took away the 2 empty cups. There were people coveting the 2 empty seats nearby. Xiaoli had no choice but to buy 2 more cups of coffee and put them there. Zhang Chen told them, I don't like drinking coffee, and these 2 cups are yours too. I'm going to die, I'm full of water. Xiaoli frowned and shouted. Zhang Chen laughed. At 3 o'clock, Manager Chen and Factory Director Cao walked in together. Factory Manager Cao was stunned for a moment when he saw it was them, with a bit of embarrassment on his face. Zhang Chen and Xiaomi quickly got up. The three of them stood there, what? Didn't say anything. After Manager Chen introduced them to each other, Zhang Chen extended his hand to shake Director Cao's hand and said hello, Director Cao, thank you for meeting you. They all pretended that what happened in the morning never happened. After sitting down, Director Cao's smooth face began to look natural again. Director Cao's face was indeed very smooth, as if he had shaved his face with a razor every day, and his chin was already blue. Manager Chen told Director CAO about Zhang Chen's idea of renting their sales department. Director CAO shook his head when he heard it and said, "If you come to San, you can definitely do it. If you rent TETE, the sales department will be gone." Manager Chen scolded, "How many copper coins can your sales department sell in a month?" Factory Director CAO said, "Do you have any copper coins? The sales department is here and no one has anything to say. It's gone. Many people want to gossip, which is too much to bear." Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, "Director CAO, I went to your sales department across the street. Although your sales department is not small, I see that there are not many styles actually sold. There are many old models. I miss you. The factory probably doesn't produce any more. What can be sold is no more than one hand." Manager Chen said. Zhang Chen nodded and continued, "In this way, a lot of space is actually wasted. In fact, you only need one counter. In our case, half." Manager Chen said. "Then I wonder if this is possible. Director CAO, you rent the sales department to us. After we renovate it, we will still leave a set of counters on the first floor for you to sell your products. I dare not say anything else about our store. If it opens, the traffic will definitely be more than what you have now, and maybe your sales will increase." "Yes, Mr. Zhang has a good idea." Manager Chen said, "Lao CAO, you have never been to Mr. Zhang's store in Hangzhou. The number of people coming and going in that store is similar to ours. Throw away the products that have not moved for several years and throw away the good-selling ones. The products are concentrated in a few counters. Isn't your sales department still there? While doing business, paying rent, and making money at the same time, don't make your life too easy." Zhang Chen proposed this, and Manager Chen encouraged him like this. Factory Director CAO became a little more active and no longer said, "It's absolutely possible to cut down 3 of them." Zhang Chen further said, "And, Director CAO, if you rent this store to us, we will be the cooperative units. We have a dedicated design team. We can help you design a batch of underwear so that your products can be updated." Manager Chen clapped his hands and said, "Okay, Lao CAO, how many times have I told you that your things are all antiques? If it weren't for the sake of being an old cooperative company, I would have invited you out a long time ago. Look now, look, Mr. Zhang and the others are doing this for you. Hello, Mr. Zhang and his colleagues, I can trust their design capabilities. Lao CAO, I promise you, if this batch of your things comes out, I will give you a good position." Manager Chen said that if you don't give me face, you won't be flattered. Director CAO thought for a while and said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, if you really want to rent, you also know that it is Huihei Middle Road and the rent will not be paid. Cheap." Zhang Chen nodded and said, "I know, we are all friends, just say it directly." Director CAO, how much can you rent for a year? 25,000, Director CAO said. Are you crazy, Jiju? Manager Chen was startled. Factory Director CAO said that there was no other way, it was not expensive, it would not stop everyone's mouths, and people thought I got some benefit in the process. Zhang Chen knew in his heart that Factory Director CAO was not afraid of not being able to silence others, but because he was not able to discredit Manager Chen. In his heart, it was better to do less than to do more. He did not want to rent this store. He offered this price because he wanted to let you retreat when faced with difficulties and retreat on your own. Manager Chen looked at Zhang Chen and shook his head slightly. Xiaoli and Xiaomi were at the table next to them and kept winking at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, "Okay, Director CAO, then it's 250,000 a year." Manager Chen sighed. Since Zhang Chen had agreed, she had nothing to say. But in her heart, she was still angry with Factory Director CAO, feeling that he was too disrespectful to her. Manager Chen stood up and said to factory director CAO. Old CAO, when the blackmail comes here, it's time for you to stop. Please help me. I have to settle it down. I'm going back first. After Manager Chen finished speaking, he nodded with Zhang Chen and walked out. There was a blush on Director CAO's face. He turned to look at the back of Manager Chen as he walked out, looking a little embarrassed. Zhang Chen smiled with him. He took out a rental agreement from his bag and said to factory manager CAO, Director CAO, please take a look at this agreement. The others are all standard clauses. There should be a set reserved for you. This one at the counter is fine. Factory director CAO took the agreement and stuffed it into his bag without looking at it. He said to Zhang Chen, okay, that's it. You guys can come to the factory to sign the agreement tomorrow morning. After he finished speaking, he stood up, said goodbye, and left. As soon as director CAO left, Xiaoli and Xiaomi immediately sat over and chatted. Xiaoli said, Mr. Zhang, don't you know, this guy did it on purpose? Xiaomi was on the side, cursing angrily, Akiaoxi. Stiffness. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I know. I know you still agree, Xiaoli said angrily. Zhang Chen continued to smile, didn't you say that we want to be famous in Shanghai? Let me ask you, look at the store opposite. Do you see that our half-acre specialty store is going to be opened there, Huihei Middle Road? How much benefit will it bring to expanding our brand awareness? How much does it cost to erect such a large billboard on Huihei Middle Road a year? When Director CAO opened his mouth and offered a price of 250,000 yuan, Zhang Chen was indeed a little angry, but he immediately thought of Lu Ligan's company at the junction of Moganshan Road and Venson Road, and Lu Ligan it said that the glass should be so bright that it turns blue. His one is a billboard erected at the intersection. The one I have on the roadside in Huihei Middle, Shanghai, isn't it even more of a billboard? How about it? Do you think it's a good deal? Is the money worth it? Zhang Chen asked Xiaoli and Xiaomi, you two looked at me, I looked at you, and finally looked at Zhang Chen together. Xiaoli said, okay, you are the boss, your one sentence is worth 10,000. As they drove back to the warehouse, Zhang Chen's eldest brother called out. It was Manager Chen. Manager Chen asked Zhang Chen, how was it? Zhang Chen told her that he had already agreed to go to their factory to sign the agreement tomorrow morning. 250,000, Manager Chen asked. Yes, 250,000. When Manager Chen heard this, he spoke Mandarin mixed with Shanghainese, and scolded Zhang Chen, saying how could he accept this price? I wonder if Lao Cao was ripping him off? Zhang Chen didn't even have time to reply. Manager Chen then scolded factory director Cao. After the scolding, he felt a little relieved, so he lowered his tone and said to Zhang Chen. Xiao Zhang, I'm sorry, I didn't help you with this matter. Zhang Chen quickly said, no, Manager Chen, you have already helped us a lot, otherwise, if we go find it ourselves, Director Cao will ignore us. I can accept this price. Really, Manager Chen, thank you. Allah, I'm going to find ye. I'm crazy. Call me 13 o'clock, Xiaomi called from the side, and Manager Chen couldn't help but laugh on the phone. The next day, Zhang Chen and Xiaomi went to Chaoyang Underwear Factory to sign an agreement. This time they walked into the office. Everyone in the office stood up, nodded and smiled at them. It seemed that Director Cao brought it back yesterday. Good news for them. Could it be bad? Zhang Chen and Director Cao signed a 5-year rental agreement. After signing the agreement, Zhang Chen called Xiao Zhao and asked her to pay this year's rent of 250,000 yuan. Xiao Zhao originally wanted to ask, why is the rent so expensive? When she heard the voices on Zhang Chen's phone that were all from Shanghai, she knew that Zhang Chen was at the other party's place. Xiao Zhao didn't ask anything, but said, "Okay, I'll arrange it right away. Thank you Mu Yang Yang for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good weekend evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 773. Zhang Chen stayed in Shanghai for 3 days, signed a lease agreement with factory director CAO and others, and also took photos of the Shanghai Chaoyang underwear factory sales department inside and outside, upstairs and downstairs, and drew a floor plan. The total area of the sales department, upstairs and downstairs, is more than 620 square meters, which is no smaller than the area of the Esprit store opposite. The decoration style of the Esprit store is very simple and impressive. The entire exterior wall of the store is made of glass. On the glass, plexiglass is used to make a huge white Esprit trademark with bold English characters. The letter E, by removing the vertical line, simplified it into 3 horizontal lines of the same length, just like a mutated 3. The font of the entire trademark is like the words engraved on cardboard in the early years and printed on the front and back of sportswear, showing the young, lively, interesting, and creative side of Esprit. Zhang Chen immediately thought that the entire exterior wall of their store must be made of glass. On the outside of the glass, he would use red plexiglass to make a huge, 2-story high paper cut. On it, there is a white trademark of half an acre field embedded on it. This kind of design is like face-to-face, fighting in an arena. You are young and lively, I am romantic and clumsy, you are interesting, I am lively, everyone is creative, and the styles of clothing are very different. In this way, we use our own charm to attract consumers. Zhang Chen was extremely excited when he came up with this idea. It was almost dark, but he was eager to return to Hangzhou. Even if it was too late, he would call old Tang out to eat grilled lamb chops and discuss paper cutting. What style to use and what content to use. Lao Tang is an expert in this aspect. Xiaoli came over and said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, show me your car keys." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What's so interesting about car keys?" However, he still took out the key and gave it to Xiaoli. Xiaoli took it in her hand, smiled, and said to Zhang Chen, "I was ordered to confiscate it. Mr. Zhang, I will return this key to you tomorrow morning." "Don't make trouble, I have to go back," Zhang Chen said. "There is no trouble. It was Sister Xiaozhao who told me that I must keep you and not allow you to drive at night. If you want to go back, you call Sister Xiaozhao," Xiaoli said with a smile. Only then did Zhang Chen realize that he had fallen into the trap. He dialed Xiaozhao's number, but it was He Hongmei who answered the phone. Before Zhang Chen could speak, He Hongmei cursed. "What's wrong with you? You're a novice. At this time, when there are the most large trucks on the national highway, you want to drive back to Hangzhou? Do you know how scary it is when the headlights of the trucks on the opposite side are shining towards you?" Zhang Chen recalled the scene in the past when they were riding to Sijiking before dawn. On Hanghai Road, the headlights of the cars on the opposite side were shining towards them. He said, "Okay, I will wait a little later." "Can we wait until there are fewer cars in the middle of the night?" "No, do you know that truck drivers who like to drive late at night are crazy? If you meet one, you will be finished." "Like you?" "Yes, it's scary to be like me, right? There's no need to talk about this matter. Just stay there and come back tomorrow morning," He Hongmei said and hung up the phone. He Hongmei roared so loudly that Xiaoli clearly heard her words. Zhang Chen hung up the phone, but Xiaoli still looked at Zhang Chen and asked deliberately, "How about it? Sister Xiaozhao, do you agree? If you agree, I will return the car keys to you." "No, Mr. Zhang, the voice on the phone doesn't seem to be Sister Xiaozhao's." "Who is it?" Zhang Chen glared at her and was too lazy to pay attention to her. Xiaoli laughed. The next morning, Xiaoli called a taxi and asked the driver to take Zhang Chen out of the city. When he came back, he would be charged according to the meter. After thinking about it, he said, "Forget it, you drive in front and lead us out of the city, and I will sit in the back. In the car, take me back to the exit of the city, and start counting the clock now." Xiaoli got into the passenger seat of Zhang Chen and asked him to follow the taxi out of the city. When they got to National Highway 320, Xiaoli said to Zhang Chen. Next, they looked at the road sign of National Highway 320 and said, "Mr. Zhang, you will never leave." "Wrong." "Yes," Zhang Chen said, "or you can take me back to Hangzhou." Xiaoli rolled her eyes at him. "You think I don't want to go back to Hangzhou? This Shanghai Nessa always adds sugar to stir-fry vegetables, which makes them taste terrible." Xiaoli said as she got out of the car, waved her hand, got into the taxi in front, and left. Zhang Chen returned to Hangzhou and called Old Tang to come to Sanbao. When Old Tang heard that he was going to compete with Esprit in Shanghai, he became excited. He also thought Zhang Chen's idea was very good and told Zhang Chen, "Leave this pattern to me and I'll do it." As a result, the two people worked on it for several days, but nothing was ideal. Many patterns were beautiful when painted on paper, but when they were enlarged, they would not work, and the overall sense of the picture was destroyed. This is also the reason why the paintings should not be too big. Paintings can only be viewed if they are placed in a large space so that people have enough distance. This is also the long axis in ancient China. It is only horizontal, not vertical, and it uses scattered perspective. The vertical one cannot be seen. You cannot run from the third floor to the first floor to see a painting, but the horizontal one, when unfolded in the hand, each foot has its own content. It is actually an independent small painting. A long axis is more like a large painting composed of countless small paintings, rather than parts separated from the large painting, whether it is a landscape painting like Dwelling in the Fukun Mountains or a riverside scene during Qingming Festival. The same is true for character and genre paintings. Any section you can unfold with your hands can be cut into an independent chapter. Old Tang enlarged the pattern that the two of them thought was good on paper and pasted it on the exterior wall of the new factory. The two of them had to walk to the construction site of the opposite office building before the whole painting could be seen. Zhang Chen feels that such a painting is placed on the outer wall of the store on Huihei Middle Road. Standing on the opposite side, that is, at the entrance of Esprit, looking this way, the painting can be seen in full view, and the effect is good, but if it is on the sidewalk on his side, all I saw were red blocks, and I had no idea what they were. You can't say that the decoration of a store only attracts people from half of the street and misses the other half of the street. For example, in the Esprit store, although the words Esprit are large, they are only as tall as a person. It is very eye-catching when you look at it from the opposite side, but you can also see it clearly when you are up close, and you can distinguish a person. After reading out the letters, it seems that someone has put a lot of effort into studying them. Zhang Chen felt that this design would be perfect if it were placed in He Hongmei's store, with the Liberation Monument Square in front of it. It could attract people on the square, but it is obviously inappropriate to place it on Huihei Middle Road. He decided to abandon the idea. "Give it to me," He Hongmei said, "when our store is renovated, I will use this." Zhang Chen gave her the renderings. Zhang Chen and Lao Tang were sitting in the design center on Stadium Road. The two of them were at a loss. Lao Tang was sitting there with a utility knife in his hand and had nothing to do. He took the Jianzhong Evening News on the table and wanted to edit the masthead. 4 red letters, carved with a knife. He Hongmei cursed, "Are you bored?" "It's just boring." Old Tang glanced at her and said helplessly. Both he and Zhang Chen felt a sense of frustration. After all, Old Tang studied printmaking. He had fat hands but was very skillful. He seemed to be carving so casually with a utility knife. After carving, the four words Qian, Zhang, Wan, and Bao appeared. Above, there are four more girls' heads. Looking at these four words, they are four girls dancing gracefully in red skirts. He raised the four words to show them. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei both laughed. He Hongmei said, "Give it to me, this is fun, old Tang." Zhang Chen slapped his palm on the design table, which shocked both old Tang and He Hongmei. He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Why, you want it too? If you want it, I'll share it with you." "Yes," Zhang Chen shouted. "What's up?" He Hongmei asked. "Who has it?" "Do you have it?" Old Tang asked He Hongmei. "Whose is it?" He Hongmei went to beat old Tang, and old Tang laughed. "I have an idea, old Tang." Zhang Chen looked at old Tang and shouted excitedly. "Do you still remember what I told you about Su Bing that day? Why can't we also use Book of Heaven here? On the transparent glass, white Chinese characters are made one by one. The style of the font is the same as that of engraving printing. The style, each character is as high as the other, just like Book of Heaven, every character looks familiar, but in fact they are all additions or subtractions, and they are typos that no one recognizes." "Okay," old Tang also shouted, from across the street, "it looks like a heavenly book with Chinese characters. People walking in front of it will be attracted by the characters that are as tall as themselves. What the hell? How could such big words be written wrong, and if I look at them, they are all wrong, and he can't stop even if he wants to." "Yes, isn't it cool?" Zhang Chen asked. "That's awesome," old Tang shouted. "I'm afraid this place will soon become a photo-taking spot." "Old Tang, you immediately cut 2 out of foam, and we can find a place to try." Old Tang said, "Okay, I'll leave first, and you can come and get it in an hour." Old Tang walked out of the design center as he spoke. After more than an hour, Zhang Chen and He Hongmei drove Zhang Chen's station wagon downstairs. He Hongmei insisted that she drive, so Zhang Chen gave it to her. When they arrived at Old Tang's place, Old Tang had already put the 2 words after the carving is done. One word is composed of word, Shen, and talent. It looks like Xie, but it's not. There is another one, which is composed of and. It looks like Da, but it is not. Zhang Chen put down the back seat of the station wagon. Old Tang put these 2 words in and asked Zhang Chen, "Where to try?" Zhang Chen said the Pole Company. "Okay." Old Tang waved his hand, got on the motorcycle and left. Zhang Chen and He Hongmei also got on the motorcycle and left. Lu Ligan was not in the company, but everyone in the company knew Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said he needed to paste these 2 words on the bright blue glass with double-sided tape, and everyone came to help. After they pasted the words, Zhang Chen and Old Tang looked at them and laughed. Isn't this the effect they wanted? A whole page of a heavenly book composed of such words would be attractive even if it were not. Moreover, the white 3-dimensional plexiglass and somewhat broken-looking song fonts look particularly majestic and elegant on this transparent glass. At night, when the lights inside the plexiglass words light up, they are so bright that they will definitely make the people on the opposite side look very bright. Esprit held down. Ying Ying came over and said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, are these 2 words written wrong?" "That's right." "Do you recognize him?" Zhang Chen asked. Ying Ying shook her head, and Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It's okay if you don't know it, because this is a heavenly book, and every word contains heavenly secrets, which must not be leaked." "Real or false?" Ying Ying looked at him and asked dubiously. "There is still something to leak," He Hongmei said. "Mix the words 1/2 an acre of land into this book and make them the only 3 words that everyone can recognize." "Great," Zhang Chen and Old Tang shouted out almost at the same time. Thanks to Ba Liang, On the Shore 131, and Dal Tin Soldier for the rewards. Thank you Cup Guy API, Chien Dad, and Book Friend 1612161220198676 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Happy Saturday everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 774. Zhang Chen and his Shanghai Weihai Road store were still under renovation, but what Zhang Chen was most worried about happened. They were meeting at Shangri-La by the West Lake. They said it was a meeting, but in fact they just called the general agents from all over the country. They all chatted together and gathered by the West Lake on a beautiful spring day. Zhang Chen represented the company. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone for your support last year and listen to your opinions. It lasted for 2 days, and the real meeting was only half a day. It was still half a day after renting a boat and rafting on the West Lake. Everyone ate melon seeds and fruits, drank tea, and chatted, and prepared to end the meeting. The rest of the time was spent traveling around Hangzhou. At that time, the Yalen Wonderland in Tonglu was booming. The next day, Zhang Chen, He Hongmei and Xiao Sheng drove 3 cars and prepared to take everyone to Tonglu. As a result, this incident broke out the afternoon before when they were still on the cruise ship in West Lake. The cause of the outbreak was Ma Ya and Guo Wentao, who thought that the 10% exchange rate was too low. Zhang Chen explained to them that the exchange rate was actually not low. He gave an example that his company had put more effort into product management than other companies. However, last year, the companies there is still a lot of inventory. If the exchange rate is high, I will definitely not be able to bear it. Mr. Zhang, you only think about your company. Have you ever thought about the interests of our general agent? For example, right now, these winter clothes are in our north. They can still be used. It's still early for spring clothes, but we want to change them regarding the delivery rate and replacement time. We still have to ask the subordinates to exchange their winter clothes for spring clothes before the spring festival, but to whom will these spring clothes be sold, said the person from Beijing Zoo. Guo Wentao and Ma Ya also agreed, saying that they also had this problem. The one from Beijing Zoo continued. Well, it turns out that I made the decision and kept some of the best-selling styles for them to continue selling. Well, all of these styles have now exceeded the replacement time and have become my inventory. Am I wronged? Am I wronged? If it had been returned earlier, wouldn't it have become the company's inventory? Zhang Chen said with a smile, okay, that's your high-spirited attitude, but having said that, if that were the case, we wouldn't have produced so many winter clothes. We would have already launched more spring clothes, and the inventory of winter clothes can still be controlled. You say yes. But in our Northeast, right now, spring clothes are not moving at all in retail stores, Ma Ya said. No, I think the biggest problem with such a low exchange rate is not what you are talking about, but that, for example, a newly opened store can obviously distribute 30,000 yuan of goods. In order to control the exchange rate, I only dare to give he deserves 25,000, said Zhengzhou Asia. It's the same as usual. I can give him 5 or 6 pieces of a style at a time. It's so easy to sell this way, and sales will definitely increase. But in the end, I only dare to give him 3 or 4 pieces, and I have to wait for him to sell. After buying a few pieces, I will give him a few more pieces, and there will be a lot of opinions from customers, the person from Kunming also said. Yes, and, in the past, we were the only one doing specialty sales in this place. It was okay to make brands. If others didn't sell ours, they had no choice. But now, so many brands have come out, such as those from Guangzhou and Hangzhou. Everyone in the city and Hangzhou still calls themselves Hangzhou-style clothing. Our requirements are strict, so others will make other brands, said the person from Lanzhou. That's it? I've lost a lot of customers here, shouted the person from the Beijing Zoo. They look at other companies' agreements, then look at ours, then turn around and leave without even talking to us. Everyone present was talking about the 10% exchange rate. The only one who remained silent and the most embarrassed was He Hongmei. From a customer's point of view, of course she also hoped that the exchange rate would be as high as possible. Her sister Hee Dong-mei also called her and told her that the lowest price of other brands now is 20%. You have a good relationship with Mr. Zhang. Can you adjust it to us in Chongqing privately? How could she talk to Zhang Chen Xiaoxiao? But the market is very realistic and harsh. Old customers are okay. They have sold this brand before and have confidence in the brand, so communication is not that difficult. But for new customers, especially those who have made clothing before, but have never done specialty stores, now looking at specialty stores as a trend, looking back and thinking about opening a specialty store, they are indeed like this guy from the Beijing Zoo. That's what it said. Everyone says their brand is good. How do customers know whether it is genuine or fake? They can only compare the conditions with each agreement. Everyone knows that the exchange rate is very important, so they all focus on this. This 10% exchange rate is indeed a bit advantageous compared with others 30% or 40%. No, they turned around and went to another place. But Hee Hongmei had been in the factory for a long time and dealt with Zheng Huiyang and the others every day. She understood what Zhang Chen said, so she could only shut up, sit in the corner and look at the lakes and mountains outside, eating sunflower seeds. After everyone's round of fire, Zhang Chen thought for a while and told them that what you all said makes sense. Indeed, in all agreements, as long as there is party A and party B, there is a game of interests, and there is this: the question is whether the agreement is beneficial to party A or party B. When we drafted this agreement, I dare not say how selfless I was, but I did fully consider everyone's interests. Who proposed the 10% exchange rate? I'm not the first to bring this up. At that time, people who were selling clothing, have you heard anything about the exchange rate? It's not all a one and done deal. Why I considered the 10% exchange rate at that time was because I thought that since it is a chain operation, everyone's destiny is one, that is, we must share the benefits and share the risks. Mr. Zhang, what you're talking about is history. We're talking about the present and we don't want to hear history, shouted someone from the Beijing Zoo. Okay, you said now, then let me talk about now. Everyone has a lot of opinions on this exchange rate. I am also very insistent on this. Why? Because I know that as long as the exchange rate goes up, the inventory will definitely increase. If the inventory increases, the profits will of course be diluted. Of course, it may not matter to you, because the increased inventory belongs to my company. Before Zhang Chen finished speaking, Ma Ya interrupted him. Ma Ya said, Mr. Zhang, I think it's quite boring for you to say this, as if we are all here to threaten you. The reason why we all give our opinions is just for the benefit of our half-acre of land and to make this business bigger. Yes, yes, Ma Ya is right, Zheng Zhou shouted. Otherwise, Mr. Zhang, why did you call us over for a meeting, and build a cruise ship on this lake, making it look like you want to do that, like the creation of heaven and earth? Everyone laughed, and someone from the Beijing Zoo shouted, you are thinking too much. They invited us to play on this lake and treat us to a meal. They originally wanted to give us some small favors and make us all shut up. Do you really think that? Do you want to hear your opinion? These words were a little unpleasant, and Zhang Chen felt a little angry. Did he think this guy was here to cause trouble? He looked at everyone with a suppressed smile on his face, as if waiting to see the excitement. Zhang Chen still controlled his emotions and said to everyone sincerely, let me finish. I said earlier that these inventories will eventually become the company's inventory. I don't mean to blame you. I say this because I want to tell you my true thoughts. I must retain the necessary profits. Space means that all profits cannot be swallowed up by inventory. This is also the fundamental guarantee that our brand can continue to grow. Everyone in the clothing business knows that the exchange rate can reduce business risks, but it cannot bring sales, let alone create more sales for everyone. It determines whether a clothing brand is good and whether it can continue. We still have to rely on a lot of things. In particular, a brand needs to be maintained. What does it rely on? It depends on profits. You may not know, how many samples do we need to make when we launch a season's products? There are thousands of pieces. We only have 8 sample workers and 4 full-time pattern makers. In addition, we have the largest design center in Hangzhou. The largest number of designers, all of which do not directly produce benefits. On the contrary, they all require us to spend a lot of money to support them. If my company's inventory is large and there is no profit, how can I support them? How can I ensure that our brand can continue to survive? Speaking of all this, why don't you just ask us to help you raise people, shouted the person from the Beijing Zoo. These words were too harsh. Everyone just listened to Zhang Chen's words and felt a little relieved. Their faces showed smiles and wanted to hear Zhang Chen continue to speak. After hearing these words, their smiles froze. He Hongmei couldn't listen anymore. Cursed. That's too much. Can't you understand human language? Hey, little girl, what do you mean by that? Shouted the person from the Beijing Zoo. I'm giving my opinion, it's none of your business. By the way, we all know that you have a good relationship with Mr. Zhang, no wonder everyone is giving opinions, but you are the only one who is silent. What do you mean by this? He Hongmei asked. You understand what it means, little girl. By the way, I want to ask, does this always have a special policy for you in Chongqing? Is your exchange rate different from ours, so you have no objection at all? When he said this, everyone else looked at He Hongmei and thought it was possible. Fart, I won't push it too far like you, He Hongmei scolded. Little girl, keep your mouth clean. Okay, He Hongmei stood up and shouted, you said that our Chongqing is different from your Beijing. Well, let's put 100,000 yuan here each of us, and I will buy you a ticket to Chongqing. You go look for it, and if you can find an agreement that is different from yours, $100,000 will be yours, and I will compensate you another $100,000. If you can't find it, $100,000 will belong to me, and you should stop giving me shit. They were about to quarrel. Zhang Chen quickly stood up and stopped them. Ma Ya also stood up, walked over and hugged He Hongmei and said, Sister, we are all our own people. It's just a matter of 1 or 2 sentences. Why are you so angry? It's not worth it. Come on, sit down and don't be angry. The cruise ship was approaching Ruan Gongdun at this time. He Hongmei broke away from Ma Ya, stood up, walked to the bow of the ship, and jumped off before the ship could stop. Everyone present looked at each other, and the boatman came over and said to them, Ruan Gongdun has arrived. This is one of the most famous scenic spots in the West Lake. The 3 pools reflecting the moon is here. If you don't go ashore to play, we will stop here for an hour. But everyone was sitting there, no one stood up, and no one spoke. In the evening, Zhang Chen held a banquet and invited everyone to dinner in the building outside the building not far from Shangri-La. Neither He Hongmei nor the people from the Beijing Zoo came. Although some people were absent, and everyone felt a little nervous, the food in the outer building was still delicious, and the private room was very happy. When the wine was in full swing, Zheng Zhouasia raised his cup to toast Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen touched it and drank it all in one gulp, but he held the cup without moving. Everyone looked at him, and some people booed. He held up the glass and said, Mr. Zhang, if you don't adjust the exchange rate, then I won't be able to drink this wine. Zhang Chen frowned and looked at him, and he looked at Zhang Chen. The whole box was silent. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I have finished my wine. It is up to you whether you want to drink it or not. However, there is one sentence let me tell you, the exchange rate is absolutely impossible to adjust. Zheng Zhouasia said, okay, I understand, farewell. He put down the glass of wine, turned around and walked out. The next day, no one went to Yale and Wonderland. They were all bored in their rooms. Those at Beijing Zoo and Zhengzhou Asia seemed to have checked out early in the morning. Thank you for the rewards from Ba Liang, running with a smile, why, ranking third from top to bottom, and reading books every day. Thank you for your monthly ticket to Not the Impossible World, the greatest blade of the country. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 775. Beijing Zoo, Zhengzhou Asia, and Kunming have all terminated their general agent relationship with Zhang Chen and the others. Ma Ya and Zhang Chen said that in fact, they all signed a contract with a brand in the Four Seasons Qinghang School Clothing City. That brand is they specialize in imitating Zhang Chen's half-acre field goods, and the prices are cheaper than theirs, and they also offer a 50% exchange rate. Zhang Chen smiled and said to Ma Ya, I can't give you this. Ma Ya patted his shoulder and said, brother, I know you can't give it. That's what I said. Don't worry, I'm on your side. But sometimes I'm outspoken and talk too much. Zhang Chen smiled and said, thank you, sister. Without the three general agents in Beijing, Zhengzhou, and Kunming, Zhang Chen and the others have lost a large amount of sales. He Hongmei cursed, the one from Kunming is lean and skinny. I look like a drug addict, not a good person. If there is no such thing, it will be gone. Zhang Chen smiled and said, those people from Beijing are not thick eyebrows and big eyes, so why did they rebel? He Hongmei and Xiao Zhao laughed. After they finished laughing, Xiao Zhao cursed, I really have you. We held a meeting. It was originally said to be to promote relationships, but in the end, the three general agents failed to meet. Blame me, sister. He Hongmei raised her hand and said, it was me and them. No one is to blame. This is a matter of time. If I agree to relax the exchange rate to 30%, I guarantee that no one will escape. Do you want it? Zhang Chen asked. Xiao Zhao sells goods in the store, and has to go to Zheng Huiyang's place to take inventory every day. Of course she knows how terrible the inventory is. From the first time Zhang Chen proposed the 10% exchange rate, Xiao Zhao had doubts in her heart. Yes, she said. Forget it then. If you mention 5 more points, I'll be scared to death. Still 30 or 40. What should we do next? Make up for the ones in Beijing, Zhengzhou, and Kunming right away? I have a few people here who have come to talk to me. We had agents at that time, but I declined. Do you want to contact me? Xiao Zhao asked Zhang Chen. If you want it, do it immediately and make those people angry to death, He Hongmei shouted. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, now, we should complete the renovation of the Shanghai store as soon as possible and strive to open it as soon as possible. Now I feel that the clothing market is in chaos. We will wait and see about those places first. Xiao Zhao said yes. In fact, Zhang Chen already felt that there might be problems with the clothing franchise model. At the beginning, you could use your strength to open up your market all at once, and within a short period of time, although a large amount of funds have been gathered, subsequent management and operation are still very difficult. Although each store has the name of Banmushan, after all, they belong to different owners and have different interests. It is impossible to unify everyone's ideas and goals, which will lead to contradictions of this kind. And friction. Zhang Chen was thinking about whether the stores in Shanghai will be as successful as those in Hangzhou after they are opened. If so, he thinks this may be a new model, that is, like Hangzhou, the general agent will directly operate it. And then develop the second-level specialty stores below, the layers in the middle will be reduced, and the conflicts will also be reduced. At present, the stores they directly develop in East China feel better than other places, and the implementation of business philosophy and brand awareness is smoother than other places. Of course, Chongqing is a special case. Zhang Chen even planned in his heart that if the store in Shanghai is successful, the next thing he will develop is the store in Beijing. Where Esprit fails to open, Zhang Chen, will have a try. Zhang Chen told Zhao Zhigang that although the new factory has been built, don't rush to expand production or recruit people. It is better to focus on the quality of the products first. Zhang Chen always adheres to one concept, that is, a piece of clothing can only be sold. The entire sales activity is completed only when the product is in the hands of the consumer. And among consumers, any small flaws you have will be discovered and even expanded. Zhao Zhigang said yes. Old Tang designed the entire heavenly book. Zhang Chen mobilized everyone in the design center to use white paper to enlarge the entire heavenly book to the required proportion, and then spliced it together on the basketball court. Zhang Chen, Old Tang, and He Hongmei stood on the looking down at the basketball court from the second floor. I felt a little excited when I saw this piece of heaven. Zhang Chen looked at it and asked Old Tang, if the size of the characters is reduced and there are more words, will it have more visual impact? Old Tang thought for a while and said, yes, and it will be more attractive to people walking by. They reduced the font by half, and half of the space was left, so they needed twice as many characters, which could not be repeated. Zhang Chen, Lao Tang, and He Hongmei created a lot of Chinese characters. This was not a simple job, and we had to take into account to check the beauty of the structure of each newly created character. One has to check Sci-fi to confirm that the character does not originally exist. When the three people were making characters, every time they created a new word, it was as if they had discovered a treasure, and they were as happy as the three children. Old Tang asked Zhang Chen, do you think that when Kangji first coined the character, was it one person or three people? Why do I feel that it should be three people? Zhang Chen laughed and said, I don't know about this, you have to ask teacher Kang. Ji Ling and the others enlarged the words according to the required proportion, cut them out one by one, and then went to the basketball court below to splice them together. With more words, the visual impact of the heavenly book was indeed stronger than before. Ji Ling. Zhang Chen shouted from the second floor, and Ji Ling turned around. Zhang Chen said to her, take the words half an acre of field up, paint them red, and put them back. Ji Ling took out the words half an acre of field from the Book of Heaven, painted them red with paint, and put them back. Each of these three words was only 80 centimeters, which should be very small in such a large area. But after putting it in, it is very eye-catching among the white text, and it pops out immediately, and it does not feel small at all. Perfect, Old Tang and He Hongmei shouted at the same time. He Hongmei smiled and scolded, why are you trying to imitate me? Old Tang shouted, the conscience of heaven and earth is my mouth and my heart. Zhang Chen also thinks it's perfect, so just settle on it and start construction as soon as possible. That is to say, in the second half of last year, the original Huaxia Hotel opposite the Market of Four Seasons Qinghaijian was changed into a clothing wholesale market. The name of the market is Hangpai Clothing City. It and the Hangpai Boutique Clothing Market in Longxiang Bridge, it can be regarded as the official name of Hangzhou-style clothing in the national clothing industry. The operators inside all adopted the same franchise and chain model as Zhang Chen and others, allowing Hangpai clothing, mainly Hangpai women's clothing, to bloom in cities across the country. Suddenly, many media reported on it in response to this phenomenon. The Hangzhou city government also intends to rely on its strong market radiation to develop the women's clothing industry into its own pillar industry. The leaders in charge of commerce and trade held a symposium on promoting the development of Hangzhou-style women's clothing. Although Zhang Chen and his half-acre farm are neither in Sijiking nor Longxiang-Qiao, Director Liu still invited Zhang Chen to attend the symposium, and also included Zhang Chen and his half-acre farm in Zhejiang Half-Acre Clothing Co., Limited, and their brand Half-Acre Field is named the leading enterprise and well-known brand of Hangzhou-style women's clothing. The meeting was held in the conference room of the city government. 40 or 50 people came, including leaders Yang, Director Liu, leaders of the Industrial and Commercial Bureau, Federation of Industry and Commerce, Individual Labor Association, the district chiefs of Jianghan District and Shangcheng District, and the bosses of Sijiking and Longxiang markets, as well as the clothing company representatives they selected, as well as reporters from Hangzhou Daily and Hangzhou TV station. Zhang Chen saw that Su Wenhui was sent by Hangcheng Daily to interview and report on the meeting. Su Wenhui saw Zhang Chen and came over to say hello to him. In order to activate the atmosphere of the venue, the meeting took the form of a round-table meeting, with people sitting in two circles around the long conference table. Of course, Zhang Chen sat in the front circle, face to face with leaders Yang and Director Liu. Zhang Chen originally hated this kind of meeting, but because of Director Liu's reputation, he had to come. Zhang Chen thought, just come and sit for a while and deal with it. Sitting in the conference room, he was still thinking, looking at the decoration of the Shanghai store and the meeting I had just ended a few days ago, I felt that there was something to be done here. He looked at those who came to attend this meeting. He didn't know any of the so-called representative brands of Hangpai clothing, and he had no intention of knowing them. He just thought that these idiots were conducting exchange rate competitions, and the exchange rate was reduced by hundreds. 20 30 40/24 was done like this, and I felt a little angry. A bunch of rabble, Zhang Chen cursed in his heart. He didn't know whether those from Beijingzhou, Zhengzhou Asia and Kunming had signed an agreement with anyone here, or were they idiots who took pleasure in imitating their own clothes? Are you still shamelessly calling yourself Hangzhou-style clothing? At the beginning of the meeting, Director Liu presided over the meeting. He positioned this meeting as a milestone in the development history of the Hangpai women's clothing industry, allowing everyone to speak freely and jointly provide suggestions for the Hangpai women's clothing industry to take root in China, break out of Asia, and go global. Then came the speech of Leader Xiang. Leader Xiang spoke from a high position and quoted classics. He talked about the West Lake, the land of silk, the beauty of the West Lake that is unparalleled in the world, and the girls of Hangzhou with beautiful mountains and rivers and even more beautiful people. In the end, it all boils down to the conclusion that all this is destined to happen in the city, in this land and water, will give birth to Hangzhou-style women's clothing that is astonishing in the world. Zhang Chen looked at him as he talked, thinking in his heart, this leader is very eloquent, he can talk so much eloquently without reading the manuscript, but I don't know what he said has anything to do with clothing. What does it have to do with a clothing brand? Leader Xiang was still talking, and Zhang Chen's heart had already flown to nowhere. When he heard everyone burst into warm applause, he realized that the leader had finished speaking, and he also applauded. Mr. Zhang of half an acre of land, please express your opinion. Director Liu's loud voice rolled over, and Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment before he realized that Director Liu was calling him. What? I was not prepared at all when I was asked to speak. I just wanted to hang out for a while. Zhang Chen raised his head and looked at Leader Xiang and Director Liu opposite him. They both smiled kindly at him. Damn it, it looked like he couldn't escape today. Zhang Chen quickly avoided their gazes and lowered his head. Mr. Zhang, just say a few words, Leader Xiang also encouraged. Zhang Chen panicked for a moment, but quickly calmed down. Just say a few words and express his true thoughts. Isn't it true that he can speak freely? Zhang Chen lowered his head and rubbed the thumbs of his two hands together. He said, originally, I shouldn't have come to this meeting because I don't think our company's products are Hangzhou-style clothing, and the fact is that they are not at all. I think the terms Hangzhou-style women's clothing or Hangzhou-style clothing are false propositions. It's scientific, but it also goes against the rules of the clothing industry. Why? Because clothing itself is the most individualistic and the most flamboyant. If everyone is the same, then do these brands still have the meaning to exist? I feel that not only do they have no meaning to exist, but they may also this brand is destined to die. There are so many well-known clothing brands in the world, so many in Italy and so many in France. I think, needless to say, everyone here can name a lot of brand names with their eyes closed, but have you ever heard of any Italian ones? Is it Italian-style clothing, or French-style clothing? Zhang Chen raised his head and saw Leader Xiang and Director Lu opposite him still looking at him, but their expressions were a bit ugly. Zhang Chen suddenly woke up. What the hell are you talking about? Zhang Chen quickly shut up. Thanks for the tip, Ba Liang. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 776. When Lu Ligan walked into Zhang Chen's office, Zhang Chen was sitting there alone and sulking. He was angry that he had behaved like that in front of him. He was talking nonsense in front of so many people. What does it have to do with you? It doesn't matter what they call fancy clothes. If you didn't say you were going to hang out for a long time, then you would just hang out for a long time. Zhang Chen recalled the previous scene and seemed to be unable to survive. Vice Mayor Xiang and Director Lu both encouraged him to talk, so he just said it. What's more, even if I beat myself to death, I wouldn't say it. Zhang Chen thought that was what happened, but it didn't seem to be the case. But no matter what happened, it happened, and Zhang Chen was sulking at himself because of it. After Lu Ligan came in, he stood there and clapped his hands and shouted, "Okay, applause, applaud our upright hero." Zhang Chen glanced at him and asked angrily, "Did Su Wenhui tell you? You're so humming quick." "It's not that I'm a quick talker, it's actually that you, a self-propelled gun, became famous instantly and left a deep impression on people. By the way, Su Wenhui said that when he develops the photos from that time, he must give them to you for your appreciation. Appreciate the expressions of the people in that conference room. This is precious information and cannot be reported." As Lu Ligan said, Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Lu Ligan sat down opposite Zhang Chen and told him, "What's going on?" "Nothing happened. I just saw that those people were angry and thought it was funny that I was with them and having this arrogant meeting," Zhang Chen said angrily, and Lu Ligan watched and laughed. He felt as if he was back in the troupe again, back to the time when they came back from Wenzhou, and Ding Begu and his team moved into the troupe. At that time, Zhang Chen had this expression and this tone, which disrupted the work group's affairs. It seems that the situation is easy to change but the temperament is hard to change. How come this guy is back again after going round and round? Lu Ligan was shocked when he received Su Wenhui's call. What's going on? Are you going to cause trouble in heaven? If you don't want to cause trouble in the heavenly palace, Zhang Chen just wants to cause trouble. Su Wenhui couldn't help but laugh. You're still humming laughing. You weren't going to stop him at the scene, Lu Ligan cursed. Then you have to give me time. He just shot all the bullets in one stroke, and then he seemed to understand Su Wenhui said. He understood, but the trouble has already happened. It's okay, it's okay. I saw after the meeting that Director Lu and Vice Mayor Xiang were still laughing. Director Lu also said, "This is the artist. Sometimes he doesn't pay attention to the occasion when he speaks. Damn it, this artist is really a what a cover. I want to be an artist. Okay, come here, I will spend 50 yuan to buy you an artist's certificate. You can be as big an artist as you want." Lu Ligan cursed, and Su Wenhui laughed. Lu Ligan hung up the phone, thought about it, and decided to go to Xiao Zhao's place first. On the way, he called He Hung Mei and asked her to come too. This is a humming consultation, Lu Ligan thought. Lu Ligan arrived at Xiao Zhao's office and told them what happened. Xiao Zhao was shocked and quickly asked Lu Ligan, "Did he really say that?" Su Wenhui was at the scene, So that's still wrong, Lu Ligan said. He Hungmei was on the side and couldn't help laughing. My master is awesome. It seems that you are also a 13 o'clock artist. Lu Ligan glared at her and cursed. Fortunately you didn't go. If you go, you will probably sing duet with your master. I think what my master said is right, isn't that what it is? He Hungmei curled her lips and said. Lu Ligan asked Xiao Zhao, has anything happened to you recently? Xiao Zhao told Lu Ligan about the suspension of the general agency agreement between Beijing, Zhengzhou, and Kunming, and he Hungmei told Lu Ligan in detail about the meeting that day. Lu Ligan was shocked. He was very busy during this period. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang from Shenzhen Angzhen Trust came with their staff. He had been accompanying them for the past 2 days to handle the mortgage procedures for Mr. Ni and others. Lu Ligan had never done a mortgage before, and he wanted to learn from the sidelines. He didn't expect such a big thing to happen to Zhang Chen. With the general agents in these 3 places gone, will it have a big impact on sales? Lu Ligan said. Big, not counting our own. These 3 places originally accounted for almost a quarter of our sales. Moreover, the factory has already produced a lot of summer clothes, and the stocks are kept there. In this way, this part may not be good. Is likely to become inventory. These 3 places can no longer develop. Development is possible. Many people have come to talk about it before. I can talk to them again. But the current market situation is like this. As long as people talk about it, they will definitely ask for an increase in the exchange rate. Think about it, then people who have used our products and made a lot of money last year are like this. Will these new customers have such requirements even more? Xiao Zhao said. Lu Ligan looked at He Hungmei, and He Hungmei nodded. Lu Ligan felt that he seemed to understand something. Zhang Chen's new factory had just been completed, and he was preparing to start a big fight. But now, he had to apply the brakes immediately or change direction. Zhang Chen, from his core, is just like himself. He refuses to admit defeat easily. People who refuse to admit defeat will always have an instinct to rush. No matter how well you hide it, that energy will always be there. Now he is suddenly asked to apply the brakes, and of course he will suffer. I don't understand your business. Does the exchange rate really have such a big impact? Lu Ligan asked. Big, the exchange rate is not a number, it is real inventory. There is not a single customer who has not paid enough for the exchange rate. This kind of clothing, especially when we open a specialty store, you can't do without styles, varieties, and colors. It doesn't matter if it's not complete. Sometimes you have to produce some varieties even though you know that our factory is not good at it. This is different from the wholesale business we used to do. When we do wholesale, we just make some sample clothes and then come across a good selling style. There are not many, just a few. You produce these 2 or 3 styles every day. You can sell as much as you produce. I can no longer buy this style. I will sell other styles. The last few pieces are cheaper and can be taken away. None of them will be in stock. There is no exchange rate in wholesale. The customer pays, and whether it sells well or not is all his business. There is an exchange rate. Let me calculate it for you. We earn 2% per piece of clothing. 10 if he buys 1,000 pieces and gets back 100 pieces, almost most of the profit from the 1,000 pieces will be gone. If you increase it to 20%, it will be 200 pieces, and you won't make any money. A specialty store has at least hundreds of clothing styles. There are always some good sellers and some not so popular. It is normal for a store to have a backlog of dozens of items. Then we have hundreds of stores across the country, which add up to how much? Can't we produce less? As you said before, we can produce as much as we sell. Lu Ligan was confused and asked. In the past, we sold goods from several companies, and you only bought a few pieces. Now it is a specialty store, and the whole store sells your goods. When the seasons change, hundreds of clothes in the whole store will be changed together. Otherwise, what should I do? Their store is empty, waiting for you to slowly restock the goods. Furthermore, the season change time is almost the same. At most it is the difference between the north and the south. There is a slight time difference, but it is not very long. For example, Hongmei and others in Chongqing have to change it. It takes almost a week, and all the stores below have finished the change. We hear also, if the entire East China region is not exchanged together, how much quantity will it cost? How can we not produce it in advance? Xiao Zhao said. In this case, why do other brands dare to do this? Lu Ligan was puzzled. I mean, they raised the exchange rate so high. Many of them are trying to grab customers. They just want your franchise fee and first payment. It's the exchange rate, not the return rate. If you go to him to buy goods, you will be caught by him, Hongmei said. If it's not easy to sell, you can exchange it, but if you exchange it, it's still not easy to sell. He doesn't care about it and won't produce more. He just exchanges it in here and lets you exchange it out there. Are customers so easy to deceive? Lu Ligan cursed. There are many customers, but there is nothing we can do about it. There are two types of customers. One type of customer is, where is my store and your goods are not easy to sell. What should I do? I can only buy other goods to sell. If he finds out, if they say you violated the agreement, we will cut off the relationship with you, and the deposit will not be refunded. It is true that you bought other goods and violated the agreement, so you have to admit that you are unlucky. Hongmei continued, there is another way. You have finally exchanged the money for the goods, but you don't have the confidence and don't want to do it. Then if you ask to terminate the agreement, the franchise fee cannot be refunded, unless you find someone yourself. Transferring your qualification, anyway, it is impossible for you to get money back from him. You interrupt the agreement, and he will develop a new franchise store and go through the process all over again. Will anyone be fooled? Lu Ligan asked. There are so many people making clothing, who knows, so they are all fighting for an agreement to see who can get the better deal, Xiao Zhao said. Otherwise, you see, like here, East China is basically full, and not a single city is developing. Some brands, they are recruiting investment every month, one city at a time. There are so many cities, they are constantly changing. Yes, the threshold is very low. They have no requirements for store decoration, Hongmei said. The same is true for our general agents in Chongqing. As long as you pay, they will do it for you. Are you suitable for it? He doesn't care whether there will be business or not. Anyway, if you don't do it, it just so happens that he will develop another one. I didn't expect your clothes to be so messy now. Lu Ligan finally understood. Yes, it is like this now. Then what do you think my master would do? If he develops a customer, if the time is right, he will go there and design a plan for you. You said he will do it randomly. Hongmei asked, but some customers just don't know what's good and what's good. They don't compare it to this, but to the exchange rate. They just feel safe. Lu Ligan understood. From this point of view, Zhang Chen was indeed under great pressure. He must have felt the chaotic market. If you don't follow the trend, you may be abandoned by the market. If you follow the trend, you may be swallowed up by the market. No wonder he rented the house on Huihei Road at a sky-high price. Maybe he just wanted to make changes. That Zhang Chen, what is he thinking? Lu Ligan asked Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao shook her head. She sighed and said, you don't know what he is like. He likes to keep everything in his mind. Many times, I don't know what he is thinking. It's really like this. When will this dull guy learn to open up to others? For some reason, Lu Ligan suddenly felt a little sad. He felt that Zhang Chen's journey was very hard and lonely, and there seemed to be no one around who could help him. In Hiken, although I worked hard, I had Zheng Wei before, and then Zheng Wei was gone. At least there was Meng Ping, Li Yong, and Chen Qiang nearby. If I had anything to do, I could tell them. Zhang Chen seemed to be alone. Working so hard in Hangzhou, I don't have many friends. Although he has Xiao Zhao by his side, there are many things that he would never say to Xiao Zhao. He is afraid that she will be worried, and he also wants to save face. What this boring guy is best at is concealing peace, and what he is worst at is opening up to himself. Being with Xiao Zhao is already considered a good thing. It was even worse when he was with Jin Lily before. He clearly knows that there is already something between the two of them. There is a rift, but he will not communicate or think of ways to mend the rift, but will only watch it widen quietly. This boring guy is really a guy who looks easygoing but is actually very difficult to deal with. Damn it, it would be better if you were a little more fragile. You are also a very strong-minded person. You will persist in any matter if you are forced to do so. You will not compromise or give in. You would rather be broken than complete. Damn it, he is a tile. I will break it first before talking about it. Thank you for the rewards from Smiling and Running Y, 8 Liang, third from top to bottom, on the shore 131, and Dal Tin Soldier. Thank you Mr. Zhu for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Wish you all a happy Sunday. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 777. Are you under a lot of pressure? Lu Ligan threw a cigarette to Zhang Chen and asked. What pressure? What pressure do I have? Zhang Chen said with a smile. He put the cigarette aside and did not light it. Instead, he threw the lighter on the table to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan knew that he was being tough and didn't argue with him. Lu Ligan lit the cigarette, took a puff and asked, how are you going to end it? How does it end? We can't just fire off a cannon and forget it, right? Then what else? You've said everything and you still want me to take it back. Besides, I didn't say anything. What I said is all the truth. It's not about taking it back, it's taking it back because it can't be taken back, Lu Ligan said. At least you have to have an attitude and an explanation. Who do you want to talk to? You do not know. Have no idea. Zhang Chen, let me tell you, this is not Haikan, nor Yongcheng, this is Hangzhou, and we are not tourists, we are doing business here. You can't say that you have offended the local officials, and then you can retaliate. Treat it as if nothing is wrong, Lu Ligan said. Then what else? Will they retaliate against me? That's not it. At least you have to give people face, even if others don't care about you. Who should I give face to? Those idiots who went to the meeting. Do I need to give them face? No, Lu Ligan said, you don't have to give face to those people, but have you ever thought about how you came to attend this meeting? How do I know? Call me. I felt embarrassed to push it, so I went, Zhang Chen said. Who called you? Zhang Chen's voice lowered, he looked at Lu Ligan and said, Director Lu. You just said earlier that Director Lu called you and you were sorry. What are you embarrassed about? Zhang Chen hesitated and said, here, Director Lu helped me. Didn't I tell you that he helped me in the dynamic zone? Not only that, but there is also the Kuning garment factory. Although he mobilized you for the merger and had no intention of helping you at the time, you actually benefited from the merger. You won't deny this, right? I admit. So you think Director Lu calls you and you feel embarrassed to reject it? Right. Then you might as well not humming go, Lu Ligan cursed. If you humming go, you're harming him, you know. Zhang Chen asked curiously, why did I hurt him? He also has a leader. Vice Mayor Xiang sitting next to him is his leader. You were invited by him. Maybe he even boasted for you in front of the deputy mayor, but you ran away. Go, now that he's here, aren't you trying to dismantle him? Where do you want his face to go? As Lu Ligan said, Zhang Chen fell silent. Indeed, he had not thought about what Lu Ligan said and what he said at the meeting. Thinking about it this way, the person who was least able to step down was Director Lu. It's a happy event and I wanted to invite you to congratulate me, but unexpectedly a mourner came. Zhang Chen felt that he really went a little too far. Then what should we do now? Zhang Chen said angrily. Of course it's to recover the losses, at least show your attitude, Lu Ligan said. Now there is such an opportunity. What opportunity? Zhang Chen asked. When will your Shanghai store open? Next month's 28th, in time for May Day. Then you go to Director Lu to report this matter, and invite him and Vice Mayor Xiang to cut the ribbon. Just one store opens, will they go? It's up to them to decide whether they will go or not, Lu Ligan said. Isn't it a reason? Just use this reason to go to him and apologize by the way. Remember what they said, don't talk nonsense anymore. I'm thinking, now their focus is on Hangzhou-style women's clothing, and they don't have a focus. How big a deal it is for you to open a store on Huihai Middle Road in Shanghai, they will definitely be interested. Okay, Zhang Chen said and stood up. Lu Ligan called, where are you going? Isn't it about an apology and an invitation? Of course, go to Director Liu's office and say it in person. Don't you call to make an appointment, Lu Ligan said. What if someone has something to do now? It doesn't matter, then come back and go the second time, Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan thought about it, maybe it would show your sincerity, so he said yes, I will send you there. Lu Ligan sent Zhang Chen to the municipal government compound. He was waiting for Zhang Chen in the parking lot opposite, and Zhang Chen went in alone. Zhang Chen walked to office 130 and saw that the door of the office was open. Zhang Chen walked in. When Xiao Yan saw him, he stood up and shouted, Mr. Zhang, hello. Hello, Secretary Yan. Zhang Chen pointed to Director Liu's office. Excuse me, is Director Liu here? The door of Director Liu's office was open, but no sound was heard. Xiao Yan attended the meeting this morning. He also witnessed Zhang Chen's performance. He looked towards Director Liu, wondering whether he should please or not invite Zhang Chen in. Xiao Yan, who is here? Director Liu's voice came out. Xiao Yan stretched out a hand and waved it, signaling Zhang Chen to wait here. He walked to Director Liu's office, stood at the door and inside and said, this is Mr. Zhang from half an acre of field. Come in, come in, come in quickly, Director Liu shouted. Xiao Yan turned around and smiled at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen hurriedly walked inside and walked to the door of Director Liu's office. Director Liu was also walking out and laughed when he saw Zhang Chen. He pulled Zhang Chen's hand, said, I knew you, Mr. Zhang, would come again, and you wouldn't just pat your butt and leave. Director Liu's words made both Zhang Chen and Xiao Yan laugh. Zhang Chen quickly said, I'm sorry, Director Liu, I was reckless. No, it's okay. Director Liu waved his hand and shouted. How many years have I not heard such a direct reaction during a meeting? When we were young, every time we had a meeting, we would get red-faced and argue. What's the matter? It's all for work. Alas, slowly, I don't know what happened. How could Huifeng become like this? When everyone is in a meeting, they just choose nice things to say, and not a single harsh sound is heard. Xiao Yan came in with a cup of tea and said with a smile, Director, didn't you hear that today? That's right, that's why Vice Mayor Xiang praised you earlier, haha, Director Liu said with a smile. Praise me? Zhang Chen asked curiously. Yes, what you said at the meeting still makes sense. The term Hangzhou-style clothing or Hangzhou-style women's clothing is indeed not rigorous enough. Wouldn't it be more rigorous to change it to promote the development of Hangzhou-style women's clothing industry, add the word industry to promote industrial development? This is what our government should do. Zhang Chen quickly nodded and said yes. Zhang Chen then reported to Director Lu the preparations for his store on Huihei Middle Road in Shanghai. Director Lu was indeed very interested. He asked in detail about the location and area of the store on Huihei Middle Road, and kept nodding and saying, "Another big deal. This domestic women's clothing brand is really brave enough to open a specialty store on Huihei Road and compete with international brands. Okay, Xiao Zhang, I will definitely report this matter to Vice Mayor Xiang." Director Lu also blamed Zhang Chen. Why didn't he say this earlier? If he had said it earlier, he would have mentioned it at the meeting today to encourage everyone. Director Lu looked at Zhang Chen and said, "Xiao Zhang, we must not only speak freely at the meeting, but also after the meeting. Regarding clothing, whether it is me or Deputy Mayor Xiang, we are all laymen and do not understand or master it. Can you introduce the real situation to me? First of all, I only want to listen to worries, not joys." When Director Lu said this, Zhang Chen told Director Lu what was most worrying at the moment: the exchange rate competition and the issue of counterfeiting and piracy. After listening to this, Director Lu nodded and said, "Look, what we see is all the glamorous side. Only then can you truly grasp the context of the industry. Xiao Zhang, I will ask you often for advice in the future." Zhang Chen quickly said that Director Lu was being polite. "You're not being polite, the situation you just reported is very good and valuable," Director Lu said. "While we are promoting the development of this industry, we must pay attention to the problems hidden under the prosperity, prevent vicious competition, and nip the signs of vicious competition." Lose. Zhang Chen nodded. Director Lu thought for a while and continued, "I'm wondering if we should immediately issue a self-discipline convention for the Hangzhou-style women's clothing industry so that everyone can consciously resist unhealthy trends in the industry." "This is good," Zhang Chen shouted, "he is the leader after all." "Oh. What happened to the leader? When we find a problem, we just complain. When this leader finds a problem, he will find a way to solve it." Zhang Chen's words were very sincere, and Director Lu burst into laughter. A week later, Xiao Yan called Zhang Chen and told him that Vice Mayor Xiang and Director Lu would attend the opening ceremony of your half-acre field store on Huihei Middle Road in Shanghai. Xiao Zhao, He Hongmei, Lao Tang and Lu Ligan all attended the opening ceremony of the Half-Mutian Women's Lifestyle Store on Huihei Middle Road in Shanghai at 9 a.m. on April 28. Vice Mayor Xiang and Director Lu brought a total of more than a dozen people from business, industry, commerce, and reporters from Hangcheng Daily and Hangcheng TV station to Shanghai to attend. Early in the morning, Xiao Yan handed a list to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was shocked when he saw that there were also a deputy mayor of Shanghai, a deputy director of the municipal government office, and the mayor of Luwen district where Ban Mutian Women's Lifestyle Store is located. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said, "We didn't invite them, why are they here?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Of course we didn't invite him. This government agency also has rules and respects courtesy. Now that the deputy mayor of Hangzhou is here, of course there will be corresponding leaders involved here in Shanghai." When Zhang Chen saw this situation, he felt dizzy again. He asked Lu Ligan and Xiao Yan to make arrangements. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, "I can come forward, but don't you run away from me again today. Director Lu and Vice Mayor Xiang know you." Next to Xiao Zhao and He Hongmei, they remembered that when the Yan'an Road store opened, Zhang Chen avoided it and Lu Ligan pretended to be him on stage. The two laughed. Lu Ligan said to them, "Watch him." Xiao Zhao he smiled and said, "Okay, we won't let him escape." Because it was on a busy road, the opening ceremony was very brief. It took only 10 minutes. The deputy mayors of the two places said a few words and then started cutting the ribbon. Zhang Chen heard from Deputy Mayor Xiang's speech that Ban Mutian was the leading brand of women's clothing in Hangzhou. For some reason, it didn't sound so harsh now. The entire ribbon-cutting ceremony was very unique. When their store was being renovated, the road was outside. According to the requirements, the roadside was completely closed. After the renovation, the entire facade was completely covered with a large red cloth. No one knows what it's like inside. When cutting the ribbon, all the leaders and Zhang Chen stood in a row and grabbed the lower end of the red cloth. After the female host brought by Hangzhou TV station gave a start, everyone grabbed the red cloth and pulled it together. The huge red cloth slowly fell down, and the true face of Ban Mutian Women's Lifestyle Store was revealed. Zhang Chen heard a chorus of wow exclamations. Thank you Ba Liang and Riri Shushu for the reward. Thank you Lu for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the reading and votes. I wish you all a good dinner. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 778. After the store on Huihai Middle Road in Shanghai opened, the effect was better than Zhang Chen and the others expected. Although he didn't know the daily turnover of Esprit Opposite, and Xiaoli didn't know either, Xiaoli called him every day and told him, the people are the same, there are just as many people here as there are there. This reassured Zhang Chen. The effect of the Shanghai store on them is twofold. First, the daily turnover of the Shanghai store is almost the same as that of their Hangzhou store. Second, there is one thing about Shanghai that Hangzhou cannot match, and that is the local stores in Shanghai. There are a lot of famous people from outside, and such people often visit their stores. Every time they come, it brings a news effect. Xiaoli would often call them and tell them excitedly that she saw so and so again today and I took a photo with him or her. Also, because their store has a unique decoration style, it often appears in newspapers, magazines, and TV screens. There are TV series that use their store as a tourist attraction. As for people from all over the country going to Shanghai and Huihai Middle Road, they almost have to press the shutter of the camera in their hands outside their store. Everything looked great, but Zhang Chen still felt worried. What worries him is that due to the vigorous promotion of the Hangzhou city government, the reputation of Hangzhou-style women's clothing is becoming more and more popular across the country. There is a saying that women's clothing in the country looks to the Hangzhou style. The Hangzhou Style Women's Clothing Association was established in the city. Zhang Chen repeatedly declined, but still he was elected as vice president, and all members of the association also signed the Industry Self-Discipline Convention. But this convention has no legal effect, and when signing it, many people had their own agendas, all with the idea that you should discipline yourself and I will do my thing. This convention actually starts from the moment it is signed. It became a piece of waste paper. Piracy and counterfeiting are still prevalent, and the exchange rate that Zhang Chen is most worried about has soared to 100% very quickly. Those who do this are plausibly saying that this women's clothing is not only from our Hangzhou style, but also from the Han style in Wuhan. The Beijing faction in Beijing and those in Guangzhou all do the same. What can we do to discipline ourselves? Can you make them also discipline themselves? At the same time, many overseas brands, starting from this year, followed the overseas department store industry and entered China in a big way. Not only overseas brands, but also some clothes are obviously produced locally. If you register a trademark abroad and hang it up, you will be called a world-famous brand. This is the most popular in Beijing. Many clothing companies in Beijing do this. And some even have no registration at all. They use foreign names and claim to be well-known foreign brands. The whole society at that time also began to have a trend of worshipping foreign countries. Everyone began to take foreign names and use English letters instead of Chinese characters. More than one customer asked Zhang Chen and the others to change half an acre of land to BMT, saying this way customers will like it if it looks foreign, or give it a Japanese-sounding name. These are all small things. What worries Zhang Chen the most is the exchange rate. Even He Hongmei and others in Chongqing can hardly stand it. He Hongmei told them that there are already customers who can't stand the temptation and have switched to other brands. Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen discussed whether they could give He Hongmei and the others 20% of Chongqing if that didn't work. Anyway, He Dongmei's exchange rate has been very well controlled. If it is given to her, she may not be able to use it up. Before Zhang Chen could speak, He Hongmei shouted, "No, sister, I've already told He Dongmei. At worst, no one will join us. We can just stick to our Jifangbei store. If we want to adjust, we can adjust together. Chongqing should never be special." Zhang Chen knew that she was still arguing with the guy from the Beijing Zoo on the West Lake boat that day. What about her tone? Zhang Chen and his own franchise stores also came to complain to them one after another, saying how bad other brands were. The implication was that they also hoped to adjust. Zhang Chen felt that the storm was about to come. He knew that there might always be times when he couldn't stand it anymore, and he was worried about it. Lu Ligan suggested to them, "Don't you get the goods at a discount? It's simple, then increase the retail price on the tag, so there is no profit margin. If the price increases, your exchange rate can also be increased accordingly." "Yes. Great. This is really a way." They were eating spicy fish together, and old Tang shouted loudly when he heard Lu Ligan's suggestion. Xiao Zhao wondered, will this be useful? What is its practical significance? He Hongmei said, "Wait, let me ask He Dongmei." He Hongmei went out to make a phone call and came back after a while. She looked at Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao smiling. Xiao Zhao asked her, "Why are you laughing?" He Hongmei shook her head and said, "You are really a kind and simple couple. He Dongmei told me that people have been doing this for a long time. Now the tag price of the same clothes in the market is much more expensive than before. Aren't the prices in specialty stores too high? Will consumers buy it?" Zhang Chen asked. "What a pig, you won't sell it at a 20% discount," Lu Ligan scolded. He Hongmei raised her thumbs towards Lu Ligan. "Sure enough, the profiteers in the world are all from the same family, and this is how they sell now." He Dongmei said, "We are the only ones who are still honest. In fact, customers are now asking questions without looking at the price of your tag. No matter how much discount you give, I won't buy any clothes without a discount." "Is it true?" Xiao Zhao asked. "Of course, He Dongmei would be so stupid. She still expects you to raise the tag price. The discount for purchasing the goods will not change," He Hongmei said. "No, if the price of the tag is raised from 80 to 100, even if the discount for purchasing the goods remains unchanged, you will still make more money by selling it at a 120% discount," Lu Ligan said. He Hongmei giggled. Zhang Chen seemed to realize now that it turned out to be a trick, and the discount for buying the goods himself would remain unchanged. After the tag price went up, the profit margin would be larger, and of course the exchange rate could be increased. "Yes, should I do the same for my damn house, raise the price and then sell it at a discount?" Lu Ligan shouted. "If your house is discounted, will people think that no one wants your house and it can't be sold?" Zhang Chen asked. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said, "It's really possible. Forget it, let's watch your show first." Early the next morning, Zhang Chen went to the Hangpai clothing city in Sijiking and found that the entire market was like this. The original retail price of a short-sleeved shirt was basically more than 40 yuan, but now it is all around 60 yuan. 70, and the same goes for other costumes. It seemed that this was the general trend and he couldn't resist it. Zhang Chen and the others adjusted their pricing strategy. The retail prices of all new clothing were adjusted upward by 40%. At the same time, with the new policy, the exchange rate of all new styles was raised to 30%. This only then did we calm down the opinions of the following general agents and specialty stores. Specialty stores on Yan'an Road and Shanghai, including all shopping malls, also start selling at a 12% discount. But Zhang Chen knew that this was only temporary. Zhang Chen vaguely felt that the era of low-priced and high-volume clothing may have passed. The next competition will be more fierce than he imagined. Zhang Chen decided to visit all the cities in the country that have general agents, including Zhengzhou and Kunming. He asked Xiao Zhao to start talking, but not Beijing. The first city he wanted to go to was that they no longer had a general agent. Of Beijing. After the new year, Sijiking, like Wei Venfang and Wu Zhaowai, suddenly had more than a dozen stores specializing in sending and receiving small parcels. Postal and telecommunications never made any surprise inspections again. Wei Venfang and Wu Zhaowai started from Zhangchen factory. Moved back to Sijiking. There are so many people doing this. If they stay away from Sijiking, they will be disadvantaged in terms of time and delivery distance. They have to move back. Besides, with so many companies opening up, although competition has increased, there are also benefits. Wei Venfang concluded that if there are too many, the Post and Telecommunications Department will not dare to come out to take care of it. If they come out to take care of it again, things may become even bigger. After they moved back, everything was fine, but Wei Venfang, like Zhang Chen, also felt a sudden increase in pressure. First, the price dropped. The original 5 yuan a piece first became 4 yuan, and then immediately changed to 4 yuan. It became 3 yuan, and some people started picking up even 2.5 yuan. The threshold for cargo consignment is very low and there is no technical content. Several fellow Wu Zhaowai from Tonglu who used to work here told Wu Zhaowai that they had family matters and would not come to Hangzhou to work after the new year. As a result, Wu Zhaowai was in the parking lot when they met them. They hurried away when they saw Wu Zhaowai. Wu Zhaowai asked the driver and found out that they were doing this too. If Wei Venfang hadn't stopped him, Wu Zhaowai would have fought with them several times. Fortunately, Wei Venfang and the others did it early. They have many old customers and the customers trust them. The business is still left to them. But you can't just say that the customers trust you and then treat them as scapegoats. Wei Venfang cannot do this kind of thing. She saw that if someone lowers the price, she will take the initiative to lower the price for her clients. Xiao Zhao told her that the difference of $1 or $2 here would be fine. Wei Venfang insisted and refused. She said, "You are good to me, I can't rely on you. If we can't compete with others under the same conditions, then we don't have to. It's open, why not go to work?" Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao both knew that Wei Venfang was a proud and arrogant person, so they could only leave it to her. Now the daily business has not decreased, but the income is only 2/3 of the original amount at most. Although he is still making money, Wei Venfang feels that he needs to find a new way out. She thought that as long as this path is right, then not only the market will have this demand, but other places will definitely have it, but where this place is and what kind of demand it is, Wei Venfang doesn't know. Now every afternoon, when she is not very busy, she rides her bicycle around Hangzhou. As she goes around, she thinks to herself that her way out must be in the city, but this city is so colorful that it obscures the road. I can't see it all at once. Wei Venfang rode her bicycle outside Lu Ligan's company that day. There were a row of cars parked here. Through the glass, she saw many people in Lu Ligan's company. Wei Venfang didn't know these people. Lu Ligan, so many people have been added here? Wei Venfang walked in curiously. She saw that the people in the hall were all busy, and they all spoke Mandarin. She didn't know what they were doing. It seemed to be related to the house, but it didn't look like they were signing a house purchase agreement. Wei Venfang stood at the entrance of the stairs for 5 seconds. For several minutes, no one inside recognized her. She looked up and went back to her business. Qian came down from upstairs and saw Wei Venfang, so she called her. Wei Venfang quickly asked, "Is Mr. Lu here?" "Here, I'm going to buy ice cream." "Sister Venfang, do you want it?" Qian asked. Wei Venfang shook her head. "Thanks for the tip, Ba Liang. Thank you Buzian for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a great evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Yang. Chapter 779. Wei Wenfang walked to Lu Ligan's office upstairs. In Lu Ligan's office, Wen Wen and Ying Ying were here. When he saw Wei Wenfang, Lu Ligan shouted, "Why are you here?" "I was passing by outside and saw that you had recruited a lot of new people here, so I came in to take a look," Wei Wenfang said. "Recruiting? Who are you recruiting?" Lu Li asked curiously. "Our new recruits are all in the sales department and not here." "How did you see them?" "The ones below." "No, these are from Shenzhen Angzhen Trust Co., Limited. They are providing mortgage loans to my clients," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Mortgage?" Wei Wenfang was surprised. "What kind of mortgage would be needed to sell the house?" "I sold a building in Haikan and had never heard of this thing." Lu Ligan explained to her and asked, "Is it fresh?" "It's so fresh that I can't keep up," Wei Wenfang said. Qian bought ice cream and brought it up. Lu Ligan said he wanted to go out to eat. Ying Ying and Wen Wen both went out. Lu Ligan asked about Wei Wenfang's current situation, and Wei Wenfang told Lu Ligan about their current predicament. Lu Ligan also felt that it was indeed necessary to expand new businesses, and it would definitely not work to stick to the market. "That's not all I'm worried about," Wei Wenfang said. A staff member from Shenzhen Angzhen came in from outside, holding a stack of information in his hand, and said to Lu Ligan, "Mr. Lu, Mr. Ni's information is still missing 2 official seals, and I want to send it to him to have it replaced, but today if you send it, Mr. Ni will receive it the day after tomorrow. Chiao always hopes to send it to Shenzhen tomorrow. What should I do?" "Have you contacted Mr. Ni?" Lu Ligan asked. "I contacted you. Mr. Ni can't leave, otherwise he said he can come over." Lu Ligan looked at Wei Wenfang, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he shouted, "Wei Wenfang, you are looking for a new business, isn't this it? You have so many people, aren't you doing express delivery? You send someone to run, I will ask the customer pay $50. Wei Wenfang was shocked. "Yes, this is business." Wei Wenfang asked, "Where are the customers?" "Kikiao." Wei Wenfang looked at her watch and said, "Okay, no need to send anyone. I'll go there myself. There's still enough time. I can come back in the evening." Lu Ligan looked at the person, who was a little hesitant. She said, "These are important documents, and Mr. Ni doesn't necessarily want others to see them." "It doesn't matter. This is my former office director. If you ask her not to read it, she will definitely not read it." "I guarantee it," Lu Ligan said. Wei Wenfang said, "There is no need for Mr. Lu to guarantee it. In this case, you have a document bag here. You seal the document and I send it over. After the client opens it and stamps it, he seals it and brings it back to me." "That's okay, I'll tell Mr. Ni right away," the staff member smiled. "Mr. Lu, am I going down then?" Wei Wenfang and Lu Ligan said. "Okay, the boss lady will personally take action and wish you success in your first new business," Lu Ligan said. Wei Wenfang took the document bag and rode towards the South bus station. She felt that the world in front of her had opened up. Lu Ligan was right, this was the new business. A round-trip ticket from Hangzhou to Kikiao only costs more than 7 yuan. After completing this trip, I can earn more than 40 yuan. How many documents like this need to be delivered in this city every day? If you go to Shanghai, Beijing, or Shenzhen, if you centralize these services and carry a bag like this, you can deliver 100 pieces at a time. If there are 100 pieces, you don't need to earn so much for each piece. If you go to Shanghai, you can just charge 30 for each piece. Then there will definitely be many people sending it. How much does it cost to take a train or a car to Shanghai? Wei Wenfang was riding on the car, and she felt like she was about to laugh. When Wei Wenfang returned to Lu Ligan's company at around 7 o'clock in the evening, Lu Ligan and the staff were waiting for her. After receiving the information from Mr. Ni and others, the staff of Angzhen Company opened it and confirmed that it was correct. He handed the other 2 document bags to Wei Wenfang. The address and contact person had been written on the document bags. He told Wei Wenfang that he had already made an agreement with the client and it was also a 50-50 deal. Wei Wenfang took a look and saw that one was from Shaoxing and the other was from Shangyu. They were from one direction and he removed them all at once. Wei Wenfang said yes, thank you. Wei Wenfang and Lu Ligan said that the business was completed and I would leave first. Thank you, Mr. Lu. Why don't you go? I'm waiting for you. I just want to wait for you to eat and celebrate the success of your new business, Lu Ligan scolded. You invite me to dinner? Yeah, no, have you eaten? Lu Ligan asked. Wei Wenfang shook his head. What are you talking about? Let's go. Why, you are still afraid that Wu Zayawai will be jealous. Don't worry, I have these 2 bodyguards, Lu Ligan said, pointing to Wen Wen and Qian Qian. The 2 of them were laughing. Wei Wenfang he also laughed. As they were about to leave, the staff member came up again and asked Wei Wenfang, Mr. Chiao asked me to ask, can you deliver it to Shenzhen? Wei Wenfang said without thinking, yes, it will be delivered on the same day. The staff member didn't believe it and shouted, really? Really? Wei Wenfang nodded. Great, I'll go talk to Mr. Chiao, she said and ran down. Lu Ligan looked at Wei Wenfang and asked, Wei Wenfang, when did you become so powerful? You didn't teach me yet, Wei Wenfang said. Did I teach you? Lu Ligan was surprised. Yes, have you forgotten that we were in Haikan and sent a beautiful express? Wei Wenfang said, I thought about all these things on the car coming and going today. I will send someone if this is the closest road, or I will deliver it by car myself. If you need to fly this far, we will use our old beautiful express delivery method. Let the customer pick up the goods at the airport, Lu Ligan asked. No, I have a fellow in Shenzhen. I asked him to go to the airport bus station, or somewhere in the city that he has agreed to, and wait for the person who will bring the goods, and then send it to the company. In this way, he only needs to divide the freight into 3 parts, and the person who brings the goods on the plane will have 1 copy, and after receiving the goods, he will send 1 copy to the customer. In this way, it is point to point, and the customer does not need to run to the airport by himself. Our relatives and fellow villagers, as well as the fellow villagers of Wu Zayawai and our subordinates, are all over the country. If we find a reliable contact and let them do this work, they will definitely be willing. How much can we earn after working for a day? Okay, genius, Wei Wenfang, Lu Ligan shouted. Okay, you need a resounding name, Wei Wenfang, I gave this beautiful express to you, you go and register a beautiful express company, people will understand it at a glance. What do you do? Stop using that shipping department. Will the Industrial and Commercial Bureau allow registration of this name? Wei Wenfang also thought the name was very good, but she still had doubts in her heart. If I don't let you, go find Director Ying, old Ying. We didn't have a meeting together last time. This old comrade has a very liberal mind. I didn't realize that he was on your side last time. Yeah, Wei Wenfang nodded quickly. If that doesn't work, go to Director Lu. By the way, has Director Lu contacted you later? Wei Wenfang didn't answer, and Lu Ligan didn't ask any more questions. However, the matter of Beautiful Express has been settled. Lu Ligan and Wei Wenfang said that this express is not a shipping department. You have to gain people's trust. The registered capital on your business license must be large, otherwise people will think you are as a self-employed person. How can I trust you with important things? Wei Wenfang nodded. feeling that what Lu Ligan said made sense. Is 100,000 yuan enough? Wei Wenfang asked. 100,000? Why can't you think of being self-employed? It's already doubled. Our original shipping department had a registered capital of 50,000 yuan, Wei Wenfang defended. Do you know that Mr. Chiao will give you the information to send to Shenzhen tomorrow, and how much loan will it cost? Lu Ligan asked. Have no idea. At least a few million. Ah, so many, Wei Wenfang was surprised. Ah, what do you think? You are endorsed by me and know that you are my friend, so people dare to give it to you. Otherwise, if you go to a strange company, people will dare to give you such an important thing. Wan's company. I can convince him, and I probably will, Wei Wenfang said. I have the confidence. Then if you have a business license that you can get, don't waste your time. You are still persuading orders one by one. How many orders can you persuade in a day? That's right. How much registered capital is required, Mr. Lu? 10 million. Ah, where can I find so much money? Don't you have Mr. Lu? Mr. Lu can lend you this money to register, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Wei Wenfang almost shed tears. She couldn't help hugging Lu Ligan and said, thank you. Hey, Wu Zayawai is going to be jealous now, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Okay, let him eat, Wei Wenfang also smiled. They arrived at the spicy fish pot restaurant. Wei Wenfang did not expect that Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao, He Hongmei, and Wu Zayawai were all here. It turned out that they were all connected. Zhang Chen had just returned from Beijing in the afternoon. When He Hongmei saw Wei Wenfang, he shouted, come on, I invite you to dinner today and wish you success in the new year and new career. How many months have it been and it's still New Year? Wei Wenfang laughed. It doesn't matter what month it is, as long as it's not the new year yet, He Hongmei said. Besides, your career is still new, so you don't need to celebrate. Wei Wenfang looked at He Hongmei and wondered why He Hongmei wanted to treat him when there were two big bosses here. He Hongmei smiled and said, just order whatever you want, don't save me the money, he will pay the bill. He Hongmei pointed at Lu Ligan and said, he still owes me 83 meals. Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao and Wen Wenqian laughed wildly. Wei Wenfang and Wu Zayawai didn't know what she was talking about. He Hongmei told them the reason why Lu Ligan owed her 100 meals, and they both laughed too. Said it was worth 100 meals. Wei Wenfang told Zhang Chen and the others about her plans, and said that she would visit all the office buildings in Hangzhou to expand her business. Zhang Chen also thought this was a good idea. Zhang Chen said, I will help you design a beautiful express envelope, so that when you take it to other companies, it will be more convincing. Wei Wenfang quickly said thank you. Your envelope is designed to be larger. It contains 4 paper documents and does not need to be folded. There are many documents that cannot be folded, Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen said yes. Wei Wenfang, I think when you go to each company to do business, you can take a look at each of them to see if anyone has been on a business trip recently and in which city they have been. In this way, they can be your human flesh and make some extra money. It's better to hand something over to someone who knows it than to go to the airport or train station. He Hongmei said. Wei Wenfang quickly nodded and said this is good. Lu Ligan laughed. Human flesh, Sichuan girl, you are really good at using words. What's that called? Or do we call them bang bang like we do in Chongqing? I'm in Chongqing and I often ask bang bang to help me deliver things, He Hongmei said. It's better to use human flesh. The word human flesh is very offensive. It makes Wei Wenfang sound like a butcher, Lu Ligan said, and everyone laughed. Wei Wenfang and Wu Zayawai said softly, starting from tomorrow, all the work in the market will be left to you. I am going to start this business and register the company. Wu Zayawai nodded and said yes. Don't start fighting with others, do you hear me? Wei Wenfang confessed. I heard it. Wu Zayawai didn't say anything, but Lu Ligan said, and everyone laughed again. Thank you to B.A. Liang, Dal Tin Soldier, third from top to bottom, flipping through books every day, and 131 on the shore for the reward. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 780. In May, Tan Shahan first took the adult self-study exam. She took 4 subjects in total, 3 of which she thought she should be able to pass. After the exam, she and her brother-in-law Mao Xingchang reviewed the answers to several big questions. Mao Xingchang thought she had basically answered all the questions correctly, and there was no problem with 60 points. Only in politics, Tan Shahan herself knew that she had failed the exam, especially in the current affairs part. She got almost all the mistakes, which made Tan Shahan very upset. Didn't politics depend on memorization, and current affairs depended on reading more newspapers? Politics is not difficult. If you spend more time memorizing and reading more newspapers, you can pass the exam. President Mao comforted her, you applied for 4 subjects, it would be great if you could pass 3. I applied for 4, but could only pass 2. I have never seen anyone pass all 4. Despite what President Mao said, Tan Shahan still believed that as long as she failed to pass one subject, it would be a setback for herself and would make her very upset. However, she didn't have much time to worry, because the Kahwa Cup Provincial Young Singer Grand Prix was just around the corner, and she had to seize all the time to prepare for the competition. Tan Shahan did not do well in one of the exams, which made Tan Shahan feel a little worried. She wondered if she would also have flaws in this competition. As a result, she became nervous for no reason. During practice, she was out of tune and couldn't concentrate. After being concentrated, I was scolded by teacher Shi for an hour until I was sweating all over my body, but I felt better. Tan Shahan laughed at herself, Zhen, you are really cheap. But there is no way, who knows that Tan Shahan is such a serious person. Different from the Sanjiang Cup, there is no political review after the preliminaries and then the finals. Kahwa Cup is recommended by regional group art centers across the province, and is also the preliminary round of the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix. All parties attach great importance to it, so before the competition, all contestants must first go through political review. The units, county and district cultural centers, and city arts centers all stamp their stamps on the recommendation form. The competition format of the competition is also different from that of the Sanjiang Cup. It lasts for 3 days from the preliminaries to the finals, and is broadcast live on television for 3 days. All competitions are conducted under the camera to show fairness. On the first day of preliminaries, on the second day of semi-finals, and on the third day of finals, the judges will score or discuss on the spot during the live TV broadcast. The top 3 in the finals will be announced. Zhejiang Provincial TV Station recommends going to Beijing to participate in the CCTV Young Singer Award in November. The list of games came out. The next 3 days have nothing to do with Tan Shahan and the others. It is a competition for the professional group. As teacher Shi said, because Tan Shahan is an opera actor, not a singer, she is not considered a professional group, but is in the amateur group. Besides, he is no longer even an actor, but a bank employee. President Mao was very supportive of Tan Shahan's participation in the competition. He asked the old man to drive teacher Shi and Tan Shahan to Hangzhou. He also told teacher Shi that you would live in the hotel of the provincial TV station, which would make it more convenient to participate. Teacher Shi, your food, the accommodation fee was also reimbursed by our bank. Teacher Shi quickly said, thank you, President Mao. Tan Shahan also said, thank you, brother-in-law. President Mao said, strive to win the championship. If you win the championship, it will not only win glory for Yongcheng, but also be the pride of our bank. Be good, I won't put pressure on you, the important thing is to participate. As soon as teacher Shi and Tan Shahan set off, everyone in Yongcheng knew that Tan Shahan was going to participate in the Zhejiang Province Kahua Cup Young Singer Grand Prix. Yongcheng TV station announced that it would broadcast Zhejiang TV's live broadcast for 3 consecutive days. Yongcheng The Daily also reported in advance and interviewed Tan Shahan and teacher Shi, who were about to go on the expedition. In the cultural square, the county cultural center also put up banners wishing them immediate success, which set off another craze in this small county town. On the first day of the preliminaries, Tan Shahan was ranked 17th. After she came up, she only sang 3 or 4 lines, and the judges below unanimously raised the advanced sign. The whole Yongcheng cheered, although everyone felt that, just listening to these few words is not enough, but the most important thing is the result. The result is that Tan Shahan enters the top 24 tomorrow, which is very beautiful. When Tan Shahan passed the rematch the next day and entered the top 12 list for the third day's finals, everyone in Yongcheng confirmed that Tan Shahan would win the championship. On the third day, the director of the County Cultural Center made an appointment with Commander Tang, President Mao, and Huang Linghua of the Federation of Trade Unions to go to Hangzhou after lunch. They were going to cheer for Tan Shahan at the live broadcast, but at about 10 o'clock, the director of the Cultural Center called President Mao and said that they could not go. Why? President Mao asked. The curator told him that in the afternoon, the county magistrate, the deputy county magistrate in charge of culture, education, and health, and the cultural director were going to the Hangcheng provincial television station, and he had to give them the tickets he had originally obtained from the Provincial Art Museum. President Mao understood. He smiled generously and said, "Okay, then we'll cheer them on in front of the TV." Only Huang Linghua heard this and felt very disappointed. She scolded the director of culture and the deputy county magistrate in charge of culture, education, and health, saying that they usually ignored her, but now they were here to pick peaches. The only person she didn't scold was the county magistrate. She probably thought it was normal for the county magistrate to pick peaches at this time. Anyway, her dad used to pick peaches like this often. The most important thing was that her dad was the executive deputy county magistrate. The deputy county magistrate in charge of culture, education, and health is an ignorant girl, that is, a nonpartisan, intellectual, ethnic minority, and female, ranking last among the deputy county magistrates. Huang Linghua is particularly rude to people of the same sex. On the night of the finals, the entire Yongcheng city was empty. Even the song and dance hall above the cultural center was closed. There was no dancing today. They brought a big TV set from somewhere and bought tickets. There were really a lot of people crowded in. After entering, everyone felt that watching Tan Shahan's game here was different from other places. Feng Logui took his daughter to his mother-in-law's house to watch TV. Before the live broadcast started, the neighbors upstairs and downstairs knocked on Lao Tan's door. About 30 people crowded into the small living room. Individually, Feng Logui held his daughter and was moved from the sofa to the back of the sofa, and finally to the last row. The daughter called, "Mom, Mom, I want to see Mom." Everyone laughed, and the daughter was passed in from the top of the head and passed to the front row to stand in front of MRS 10. In the finals, Tan Shahan first entered the top 6 with her song "The Spring Water on the Border is Clear and Pure." The next song, "Sister Looking for Brother, Tears Flow," Tan Shahan sang with such emotion that her eyes were filled with tears. It seemed that it would roll down at any time. Lao Tan shouted excitedly, "Get there, got it?" As expected, Tan Shahan entered the top 4. In the last round, Tan Shahan appeared last and sang "I Love You, China," which she is good at. The first 3 contestants were a contestant selected from Jinhua region, a contestant selected from Lishui region, and a contestant selected from Taizhou region. Finally, the 3 people performed well, and the atmosphere in the living room suddenly became tense. You must know that the people living in this courtyard are all culturally advanced. Even if they are not engaged in music, they know a little bit about music. They have been exposed to it a lot. They all feel that these three players have performed beyond their level. It was Tan Shahan's turn to appear, and her daughter called her mom, Mom. Someone said, "Come on, Mom, come on." The daughter shouted at Tan Shahan on the TV, "Come on, Mom." Mrs. Tan turned her head and said, "I don't dare to look at it." When Tan Shahan finished singing, there was silence inside and outside the TV. For a moment, everyone couldn't tell who sang better among the four. Determining the top three is not a direct score, but the judges discuss together, select the top three from these four contestants, and decide the championship, second, and third place. On TV, the judges gathered together to discuss, and everyone could only see their backs gathered together. The people here couldn't bear it anymore. Someone broke the silence and shouted, "Lao Tan, what do you think?" Lao Tan cleared his throat and said in as objective a voice as possible that Tan Shahan was still a little nervous and the song was a bit tight, but if the judges were fair, I think Tan Shahan was better. The living room cheered before the TV set. Lao Tan quickly shouted, "Of course, as you all know, this competition is decided by the judges, not me. I don't know if there are other factors involved in the judges' decision." Everyone's mood became tense again, and their eyes were fixed on the TV. On the TV, the host had already come to the stage holding a folded card with the judge's decision written on it. The host stood in the middle of the stage, smiling slightly. She looked around, raised the card in her hand, and told everyone that after 3 days of intense and exciting competition, the card I am holding now is this list is the top 3 in this competition, and it is also the list of contestants recommended by our province to participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix in November. The host said, lifting the card up, doing a stunt, opening it a little, saying "oh," and closing the card again. The TV camera, just in time, scanned the faces of the 4 contestants in turn. 3 of these 4 contestants will leap over the Dragon Gate tonight to enter the nationally watched CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix. This competition is too important, and winning this compared with the qualifications for the competition, tonight's championship, second and third place seems not that important. The camera panned back to the host. The host smiled and said, "Okay, I know that the audience at the scene, like the audience in front of the TV, want to know the 3 contestants who can represent our province and participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix. Who is it? Below, I will reveal the answer." The host finally opened the card in his hand and announced, "They are from Hangzhou." A burst of cheers erupted in the living room, and Lao Tan shouted, "Listen, listen." But no one paid attention to him anymore. When he heard Hang, he knew that it must be the Hangcheng area, and the Hangcheng area must be Tan Shahan. Tan Shahan can go to CCTV. Is there anything more important than this? After cheering, I watched TV again, and the awards were already being presented. Tan Shahan not only qualified to participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix, but also won the first place in the amateur group of the Zhejiang Province Kahua Cup Young Singer Grand Prix. When she came from Zhejiang, when the TV station director and Kahua general manager took the certificate and flowers from their hands, she shed tears of excitement. When my daughter saw her mother crying on TV, she burst into tears, and everyone else laughed. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were sitting in Lu Ligan's car. The car was parked on Moganshan Road, opposite the gate of the provincial TV station. Neither of them spoke. They had just been in Zhang Chen's staff canteen on Stadium Road. I watched this game with many workers. After watching it, the 2 of us came here. The stadium was very close. When they arrived, the audience was leaving. After coming out of the gate, Zhang Chen asked, "Do you want to go inside?" Lu Ligan shook his head, and the 2 of them sat here. 10 minutes later, he saw 3 cars with Yongcheng license plates coming out. Lu Ligan vaguely saw the familiar figure sitting in one of the cars. At this moment, it has been many years. They were probably celebrating somewhere, because Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen also saw the director of the Cultural Bureau and the county magistrate of Yongcheng County. After those cars were gone, Lu Ligan started the car. Thank you book friend 201701201935244134 for the reward. Thank you for your monthly pass to Ziokan Fenjiun. Thank you for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.